What's happening, y'all? L.A.R movement still moving. Excuse me. My stomach is killing me. I wound up ordering some food a couple days ago, and I ain't been right since. But I'm good though. But this so if you the tone is from not up and all that, that's because of that. But the video itself, as its title is, these brothers are breaking the cycle. And I was watching what up, George? What up, dog? These brothers are breaking the cycle, and I was watching a clip of one of the shows on and what's happening third ward? What's up, Cooley? And I was thinking about it, and the lady was like, "What have we been told in our community that winds up affecting us negatively in the long term?" And and I was listening to you know, to take a good you know what. That's it. J.R. man, what's up, Emmanuel? That's funny, dog. That's cold blooded. Yeah. It's like what things have been going on, that led to us having bad outcomes and results. And I thought about it in the sense of, we talk about, everybody in the world has cycles that they're trying to break, or, generational curses. And I think when it comes to us as black men, I think people have a hard time with us breaking the cycles because a lot of people have lived on placing negative things upon us that whether it's true or untrue, and the cycles we wind up breaking. Some of them are true things that we need to break, and some of them are false things that we're breaking for perception's sake, and people are having a hard time dealing with it. So the first thing I'm talking about is you're the man of the house. You know, I don't think people take into consideration when you kept telling young boys, "What's up, Amon?" When you kept telling young boys they're the man of the house. Now you're robbing these boys of their childhood. So now he's the man of the house when he's not even a man yet. And people forget sometimes that when you quote unquote become the man of the house, the duality in it was what they were talking about in the video in the show where normally your mother tells you you're the man of the house, but at the same time, she wants you to listen to everything she say and do what she say. Those two things don't really go together, you know? Uh-oh. The grass ain't greener. I see it ain't third ward. Anime, what's happening, man? Tyrone, what's going on? Man, man, you need to get some rest, Tyrone, man. Shoot, I do too. Prometheus, what's happening? So now that you're the man of the house, but you got to listen to your mama. So what I mean by breaking the cycle, and that is sometimes, brothers have dealt with relationships with women who swear, you the man, but I'm gonna tell you what to do. And I think what's going on is guys have been the man of the house for so long. Those type of guys have been the man of the house, and then mama tell them what to do. Once that's over with, you're not finna. I'm not a child anymore. I'm not a child for one. You're not about to tell me what to do, and we're in the same age group, and we both grown. That and this time I'm the man of the house, literally, not just by title but by responsibility. So it's like the guys are breaking the cycle. Like, no. When I'm the man of the house, I'm definitely the man of the house. And the reason why I'm saying this is there are brothers who are breaking the cycle and brothers who are quote unquote not, right? And to me, it looks like the guys who don't break the cycle, who perpetuate the stereotypes in the cycle, they get rewarded and treated better because they perpetuate the cycle, because the cycle feeds everybody else's perception and ego. So people are complaining about the black men who help perpetuate the cycle, but they invest more time, effort, and have all these lovely excuses to be with them, and then blame them for everything. But they won't be with the opposite guy. So, you're the man of the house comes into play with that. Because if you're the man of the house, now all of a sudden you're controlling. You're providing, and you're the actual man of the house, but not you're controlling. You're not going to subjugate me. You're not. I'm not your slave type thing. But if you're the man of the house, and you quote unquote a homosexual, it's all good because I can put you out whenever I feel like. So for me, it's interesting. It does. But you find somebody that rock with you at some point. You know what I'm saying? You find somebody that rock with you at some point. Third ward. I mean, it is what it is. So what I look at is what I think about is what's going on is these guys are breaking a cycle of there's not going to be we're going to lessen the generations of men that are the quote unquote the man of the house as children, and then have to be and they're going to be the homosexual man of the house as adults. That if you're noticing, that is really come to an end. Because if a lot of people don't take into consideration how people say the brothers ain't got their stuff together or whatever, but there's so many brothers who got their stuff together that people don't want no parts of because they got their stuff together. And that is a glaring indication that these brothers are breaking a cycle, because there are so many people so many ladies who can't be with these men. Hey, Mahogany, you know what I'm saying? There's so many ladies who can't be with these men because they got their stuff together. They're supposed to be the man of the house without and still not be a man. Now you're seeing guys who are the man of the house and they men, and it's like, oh, it's a problem. It's a problem. Well, I ain't gonna say that. White men are told they're controlling. That's why you got feminism. That's what that's all about to it. But I mean, it sounds silly. I will say that it definitely sounds silly. These guys. We ain't even gonna get to. I ain't even gonna start today because I'm gonna keep to the topic. The second thing, these brothers are breaking the cycle is you just like your daddy. You're gonna be just like your daddy. Don't wind up like your daddy. What's happening? Killmonger, what's happening? He said, do your thing. You off the chain. Oh man, that's hilarious. So you just like your daddy. And when you saying you just like your daddy, it was a negative thing. Titan, what's happening? Bell, what's going on? Marty, what's popping? It was never, I ain't gonna say never, but the majority of the tone was, it might be a whiskey day, Marty. It might be. It's more of a Sprite day right now. But when they tell you like your dad, it was a negative. And then you didn't want to be like your dad. And the thing about it was, some of us knew our dads and some of us didn't. So you just like your dad thing, could be an insult that's true, or an insult that's untrue. So now, you had guys who didn't want to be just like their dad. They might have wound up in similar situations as their fathers, but they're not going to be quote unquote their dad, right? So now you're dealing with this, because I see it where, that was the CDC thing when the brothers are the best fathers. That smacks into that slaps the stereotype in the face that these guys are like their quote unquote dads that are deadbeats. And I'm gonna get to the deadbeat thing later. But what I mean by you gonna be just like your dad, your mannerisms, don't I remember my mother used to hate it because I used to play music loud just like my dad. And that was somehow a negative quality because my dad did it, right? Even though, she'll listen to loud music too, it depends on the song. So now guys are breaking the cycle because I'm not going to be just like that what you consider is negative qualities of my dad, whether they're true or untrue. But on top of that, now you're trying to be something else, and now it's bothersome because you don't want to be just like your mama neither, you know. So now you're figuring something out, and now these guys are out here. There's something different than what you perceive them to be and what you hope them to be. So there comes a point where, and I'm trying to say this properly, so don't think I'm just playing around. Um, there comes a point when you decide that you're going to be your own man outside of the stereotype of being like your dad and outside the stereotype which your mom wants you to be. So now when you go out into the world, now people transpose you're like their dad onto you, or they have daddy issues, so they're gonna try to take it out on you. And why I say, brothers are breaking the cycle, because I'm not your daddy. I'm not just like your daddy. I don't know your daddy. I don't know if it's real or fake about your daddy. And I'm not gonna take your childish rebelliousness because you equate me in some ways with your dad. So guys are breaking that cycle. Bucket, what's happening? So guys are breaking that cycle where I don't really care about your daddy issues, because I don't know if your daddy issues are really real or fake, or they come from a real or fake place. So these brothers are breaking the cycle. That's why sometimes people had no understanding where when you go out and when older brothers will get talked to sideways or disrespected, and you could tell that when you're older than people, when you're older than young men and young women, you can see it in their face that they have an issue towards their daddy. So now they're gonna transpose it onto you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it makes the rules, but yeah, that's a problem, third ward. But they transpose it onto you, and you're looking at them like, dude, what is your issue? Or girl, what is your issue? And that becomes a problem. And it became so much of a problem that now it's a culture shock when you're dealing with men who are like, look, I'm not finna be the punching bag man for your daddy issues. I might be just like my dad. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I ain't finna be just like your dad either. And people were accustomed to that, accustomed to being able to take out their frustrations on men because of this. And this is, if you notice, in the last few years, brothers have been talking about, people need to go to therapy. Y'all need to talk that out. Y'all need to go back to your family type stuff, because brothers ain't finna deal with it. So you got men trying to break that cycle too. Now the other thing that I would say is at the root of all of this gender rhetoric and red pill rhetoric and everything like that is the men are dogs. Guys have been breaking that cycle. What's up, Bishop? Guys have been breaking that cycle, and people don't think about it that way because a lot of the quote unquote simping came from the all men are dogs. Don't be like your daddy. You need to know how to treat people this way or that way, and don't go out here breaking these girls' hearts and be all altruistic and loving and selfless and servicing the needs of somebody else. What's up, Aubrey? So a lot of guys at some point, you went from the all men are dogs to you got dogged out trying to prove that all men aren't dogs. So in a sense, the brothers were breaking a cycle, because this is one of the conversations that these men have when it comes to you don't like good guys, and then when women reinforce it and say, yeah, we go through a period of, we like bad boys or whatever. But that's the same time period when you're telling these guys, that all men are dogs. So now you look like hypocrites. And now what we've been taught, by family members in society and friends, that all men are dogs isn't true. So you're dealing with a situation where the guys feel like the guys for a really good reason feel like they broke the cycle of all of men being dogs. It is just you didn't want men who weren't dogs. You wanted men who were dogs at that same particular point. So now you're dealing with the fact that you wanted dogs when guys are proving that all men aren't dogs. Charles, what's happening? Thug, what's happening, man? Walsh Gamer, what's up? What's up? What's up? So, oh, you saw a smile. Had to be off the chain. Oh, that's hilarious, though. So now you're dealing with this situation because there are a lot of brothers who feel like, oh, that's not true. We know it's not true. We know a lot of good men out here. We know a lot of guys who are faithful. We know a lot of guys who are down for their woman. We know a lot of guys who helped their woman from point A to point B. We know a lot of guys who didn't dog women out and were good men to women. And those guys didn't get treated right. So now it changes the dynamic of it. The Chim, what's happening? What's happening? I'm on the third thing, the Chim. So this one is all men of dogs. The first one is you're the man of the house. The second one is you're just like your daddy. So, just so you know, I'll speed it up a little bit. I hope you're all right at work. I hope you're all right and doing well. So these brothers are, whether people, unbeknownst to people's perceptions, all men aren't dogs. And when it goes back to breaking the cycle, this is what I meant earlier when I said sometimes breaking the cycle was either something that came from a real place, sometimes it came from a fake place. And this is one of the things where saying that all men are dogs or we black men are dogs or whatever came from a fake place. People who liked a certain type of guy got dogged out by that certain type of guy, but they knew he was, but they knew he was dogging people anyways. So it come from a fake place. You want dogs to be good. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad, Miss Muhammad. I'm glad. Wait, black men don't cheat. I'm not gonna say black men don't cheat. I like play. That's a funny thing though. That is a funny thing though. But the thing about it is, the black men that do cheat are dudes that cheaters. They fit. They are cheat. They are confirmed cheaters before you meet them. They'll tell you they're cheaters. You might meet them as cheaters. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there's a lot of guys that are considered cheaters. And the woman that they're cheating with absolutely knows she's not. She's he's with another woman. So that's what I mean by the all men are dogs thing. Like the days of having a woman across town and your woman not knowing are virtually over. Like, come on, So that becomes a problem. Akashi, what's happening? So now the other thing, let me get to this is brothers are breaking the cycle of a real man. And usually, a real man to do this. A real man is like this. You ain't a real man if you don't do X, Y, Z. And I talked about that recently where people transpose what is a real man onto you so it can benefit them. And brothers are breaking a cycle about, don't tell me what a real man is to you because I'm looking at your definition of what a real man is. And what a real man is somebody that does stuff for you so your life could be easier. And that's where it ends. You know, it has nothing, no depth inside of it. Yeah, they think you could change him. You know, Goshen, what's happening? Yeah, he said you can't have it both ways. That's right. So, you know, these brothers are breaking the cycle because when you try to tell them what a real man is, they know what it takes to become a man. So they don't want to hear your stuff anymore because you learn that as a young man, as a teen, as, you know, a young boy, young man. When people keep telling you what a real man is, and either they're not a man for one, or they're not old enough to necessarily know or understand. It's just fantasy. It's just what they. A lot of times when people told you what a real man is what they wanted a man to be for them, not actually what a man is. And they're asked, and they wanted a man to be something for them that they might not be able to handle. And this comes out when people say, you know, I want this certain type of man in my life without asking the question, are you able to handle that certain type of man in your life? Because he might bring things to the table and expect you to bring certain things to the table that you might not be ready to, that you might not even have in you. Mike, what's happening? You know, so in reality, he's getting, but yeah. So this is a problem. Who puts up with their BS? Yeah, that is one of the things. You know. Uh-oh. So control freakism. That's that. Yeah, you can call that's that. I can see that. I definitely see that. So now you're getting grown men. When somebody tells grown men what a real man is, they're responding back like, no, it ain't. This is what a real man is. And now people are having, once again, a culture shock because these brothers are breaking a cycle. If you're not about to tell me what a real man is, I'm going to tell you where you got what a real man is right or where you got what a real man is wrong. Because what you're asking for isn't a real man. You're asking for a savior. And a real man can't save you from yourself if you are the problem. And I think that's what goes into the situation where, you know, everybody wants a real man to be everybody else's savior. He's supposed to spend his lifetime being real enough to be everybody else's savior because everybody else is just so out of pocket. Like, but what you're seeing is real. What's up, Astronite? My bad. You know what you're seeing is when these guys are real men, they're assessing the people that are asking things of them and like, you're not worth all that. You know, because you want a real man to take you places you're not going to take yourself. You want a real man to do things for you that you're not going to do for yourself. And you have no intentions of doing it for yourself. You have no intention of committing to trying something differently, you know? So that becomes a problem, you know? And sometimes, you know, and don't make this mistake. And I'm not just talking about the women, because when I was thinking about it, like listening to I was listening to all the smoke, you know, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and they had Shannon Sharp on, and I used to think about, like, you know, coaches and teachers and this, that, and the third. They'd always, they don't you want to take care of your mama? Don't you want to be like? It might sound cold what I'm about to say. A lot of these guys, these men in positions and jobs and coaches, and they pull at the heartstrings of black men. Don't you want to be a real man and take care of your mama? But you never ask these same type of guys, do you take care of your mama? Because the vast majority of them don't. So real man takes care of their mama. Well, you don't take care of yours, right? Well, my mama's married. Oh, so okay. Or when their mama's not married, they're not taking care of their mama. You're not hearing all these guys of all these other racial groups. You don't hear them. I had to buy my mama this and buy my mama. You don't hear them say that. They say that to us. You know, Reem, what's happening? Bro, what's going on? He said, "Uh-oh." Right, what's happening, man? So this is why I'm saying what I'm saying just now. But the real man stereotype is, which is stupid. Now, the other thing about it is these brothers are breaking the cycle when it comes to you can be disrespected. All right, what's happening? He said, "Mama." Oh, snap. See, what I see even through social media, Darth, what's popping? You know, what I see in social media is this culture shock just globally because, you know, people are having a hard time with the idea that, man, you're a black man, I can't disrespect you. The women are having a hard time with it. You know, the men, sometimes the men are having a hard time with it. Uh, all the other different racial groups and ethnicities having a hard time with it. Black people who are not from America, from time to time, having a hard time with it. Like, wait, and when you see in this political time, you know, these brothers, the whole campaign, the whole your own, you know what I'm saying? You know, everybody else can fill in the words, you know what I'm saying? That comes into play because now people were accustomed to, oh, I could talk to you any kind of way, or I could stab you in the back, or I could treat you a certain way, or I could act as though you're beneath me. You know, I need you to respect me more than I'm going to respect you. You know, you know, I could do something to you, and you better not. And this is how it's supposed to be. But if you respond back to me, it's a culture shock, and I'm a victim now. You know, you can't do that. Like this is a trip. You know, he said, they are confused. You know, so this is a problem. You know, yeah, all that mama shaming. Yeah, it don't end. It don't end, Goshen. So it's crazy because, you know, the now because I even see it say, if y'all ever notice when you talk about stuff like police brutality, right? Normally, who the cops beat up are teenage boys. The grown men are beat up teenage boys. You shoot at the grown men. So these grown men who want to, you know, they want to manhandle somebody. They normally manhandle teenage boys. And then what's up, Rock Fresh? And then, you know, Sketch, what's happening? And then when it comes to grown men, that's when they pull guns out. Now, you're dealing with grown men who all of a sudden, oh, you can't, you shouldn't be able to talk to me a certain way because I'm a police officer. See, you don't really see police officers, and I'm just using them as an example. They're not the only ones, so I'm just using it because it's the stereotype. You know, you're not really seeing police officers draw their guns on other men of other ethnicities. You're not gonna see them just traffic stop, draw the gun on white dudes, traffic stop, draw the gun on Hispanic dudes, traffic stop, draw the gun on Asian dudes, traffic stop, you know, draw the gun on Arab dudes. You're not gonna just see that. It's not gonna happen. You know, and you don't see them out, you know, just chasing down teenage boys of those ethnicities and just tuning them up, no matter for what they do. It just doesn't happen. But then these guys get offended because, you know, how dare these guys, you know, you men and boys try to show us up. Well, what it is these brothers are breaking a cycle. You're not just finna walk up on me and try to beat me up and talk to me sideways because you feel like you can because I'm black, because you don't do that to nobody else. And if you notice that silence when brothers say something like, you don't do that to them white folks though, and it don't matter what race he said that to, it's always a that pause. So this goes out to the other things, like, you know, even with the ADOS thing, you know, or with Tariq Foundation of Blacks, like when other people say, wait, y'all not finna help us? Because I was talking to my aunt. She called me last night and she was like, what a, you know, she was talking about the Democrats and Republicans and whatnot. And I was telling her, I said, one of the reasons why you're seeing more black men vote Republican is not necessarily that black men are Republicans. Black men are conservatives, but not necessarily Republicans. And I was like, what it is brothers are so tired of people latching on to black men's history and black men's struggle. If we vote Republican, you can't latch on. See, the women's movement had to be a women's movement. What's up, Deep Man? How you doing, fam? Perfect. Oh man, perfect. Man, I know I'm tired. I'm hurting this morning. I'm gonna just say perfect right now, dog. I'm done. I'm still sick right now. So what happens is the brothers are like, okay, so let's see if your women's movement works just with the rest of the Democratic Party without having black men. Let's see if the black women's movement works without the black men. Let's see if the gay movement works. Let's see if the Hispanic movement works. Let's see if the Asian movement works. Let's see if the Muslim movement works without, it's just like, let's see if how these black and brown coalitions ain't going to be black and brown because we're going to back out of them. Because those same groups say, they disrespect us on a regular, but then at the same time, they use us as political capital. And they say, those Republicans are racist. And you're acting like white people ain't Democrats. Like all of a sudden, if a white person tell you they're a Democrat, that means that they're not racist, or they don't have racist tendencies, or they don't have white supremacist tendencies and talking points. That's a lie. But now people are catching on to it, like, the Democratic Party, blah 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 blah, and Republicans use that as a talking point. But they're like, this is why you should vote Republican. Don't think that all these black men are voting Republicans just because they believe in Republican tenets. That's not always true. They believe in conservative tenets, but they know, the Republican Party ain't really, they need us more to win too, but it's not even about them. But getting back to the disrespect, right? What's up, Marty? My bad. Thanks, Marty. Like, he said the biggest racist. That's the crazy part about it. Now you're dealing with a situation where it's a culture shock for other people who are not black men. And like, how dare he stand up for himself? And the crazy part about it is, and most brothers know this to be true, a lot of brothers walk away from people who disrespect them. 9 times out of 10, we chilling, and because people think, when you're if you're a black male, and the reason I'm saying male because this is going to include everybody, you'll go harder on other black males than you go on other people of other groups. You're a black male, so you're gonna try to take off another black man's head, but you wouldn't do that to a white guy or Hispanic guy, Asian guy, or Arab guy, or what I'm saying. And truth be told, that's not the case. What it actually is all these other men that try to disrespect us, when we had that square off with them, like say something else, they buckle them back down. That's what happens. Like when you do it with when you do it with brothers, and if a brother disrespect you, and you like, what'd you say? Oh, we about to be 10. It's about to be some smoke in the city. The brothers are not gonna back down from it. The brothers are like, yeah, I said it or I did it. They're gonna double down on it. These other groups of people, those men will be like, I'm a real man, I'm this, that, and the third. But when it's time to say that again, I bet you ain't gonna do that again. Then they buckle. So a lot of people think you're not standing up to these guys, but the crazy part about it is they're not standing up. But we forget that part of the conversation. So that's why I say these brothers are breaking the cycle, because what happens is, now even when it comes to us and the gender thing, sisters are having a hard time dealing with brothers because brothers are not taking that disrespect. I'm not about to take you out on a date and you talk crazy to me. I'm not about to be in a relationship with you and you talk crazy to me. I'm not about to be your see you in public and say hello to you and you disrespect me, but all of a sudden you need to work harder. All that ain't finna happen. And the ladies, the bad attitude, thinking the bad attitude is sexy. All these ladies are realizing, the brothers are breaking the cycle because I don't care about you. If you disrespectful, I'm gonna leave you alone. You're on your own. You know what I'm saying? You just on your own. Oh snap! Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, y'all. Sorry about that, y'all. My apologies. I got a coworker that kicked me up. I had to call in for a few days because I'm sick, so he hit me up for something. So my apologies, y'all. Um, that took a lot out of me. But so here's the thing: when it comes to the disrespect, that's a problem. So you know what? I'm gonna move forward to the next one because I took so long. Deadbeats. These brothers are breaking a cycle when it comes to deadbeats. When I talked earlier about just like your daddy, the deadbeat thing comes into effect because these guys are supposed to be deadbeats, and you're not your dad wasn't there for you, and your dad wasn't there for the kids, and you're not gonna be there for the kids, and Rona, no man, I don't have Rona snuggle. I think I have some like food poisoning because I ordered some food like on Saturday or Sunday, and I ain't been right since. Um, but the thing about it is, can you take a deep breath? Yeah, I can take a deep breath. I went running 4 miles yesterday. But I throw up. you know. But the deadbeat things is, it's you're seeing more and more men not be deadbeats. You feel me? These guys aren't deadbeats. You're seeing these guys fight through all kinds of issues or baby mama drama to have a relationship with their kids. And the deadbeat dad lie is coming into Falcon. What's happening, fam? The deadbeat dad thing is coming into a halt because of technology now, and I'm talking from when cell phones was popping like in the 2000s and up, right? That's why I cook. Yeah, I feel you, Cooley. I feel you. I shit. My girl was asking me that. Was it? I was like, I don't know, because I ordered food one day for her, and she ordered food one day for me. So I don't know what the hell happened. Um, so what ends up happening with the deadbeat thing is you're seeing these guys uh living living through the getting hung up on, living through the police getting called on them. Now you're looking at like fatherhood and deadbeat dads from a perspective of, okay, back in the day. Oh yeah, 4 miles straight. Yeah, I run 4 miles every other day, Mr. Edmore. That's how I work out like that. I do a workout before work every day. So one day is a weight type workout, not as indoor workout, but the next day is workout and 4 mile run. Take about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, depending on the day. But heavy hitter, what up? So now you seeing these guys, and now you're looking at the fathers back in the day. Okay, now you look at fathers who when they didn't have caller ID, different from the fathers when they do have quote unquote caller ID or cell phones. Now you're starting to see, okay, all of this deadbeat dad stuff ain't really deadbeats. It's a lot of games in the middle too. You know, you right, sketch. That people are being exposed for making these men look like deadbeats. You're seeing too much information go out now. So now these brothers are breaking the cycle because now you're dealing with these men who, you just like your daddy. You're gonna be a bad dad like your daddy. You're gonna be this like your daddy. And now you're looking at it like, oh, okay. You know, the all you went from the class of people who was like, just pay your child support to if all you're gonna do is pay child support, you ain't a real dad. But then you go to guys who pay child support and they do all the calling and chasing and texting and driving and pickups and drops and the guys who are getting fought with the calling and texting and even buying tickets and the pickups and drops and having the police called on them. Dion, what's happening, man? My bad. Now you going you know what? I'll drop a link, man. I tell y'all what I'm gonna do because I'm in the house. So I'm gonna skip forward. I'm gonna skip forward right now and say the other things, and then just so you know what the other ones are. So if you want to talk about them, you can. I do that. I would do that, fam. Hold up. Um, so that part, I think it's number 6 was the deadbeat dad. So these brothers are breaking the cycle. Number 7 was the black men are broke thing, because you're seeing less and less broke black men. The number 8 thing that black brothers are breaking the cycle is black men are thugs. You're seeing less and less thugs, to be completely honest. You're seeing less and less thugs. Even with the young guys, they ain't even built. Even the ones that perpetuate that they're thugs aren't really built like thugs, and they really can't handle thug stuff. Um, the 9th thing was that black men are stupid. You're seeing less and less dumb brothers, but these guys were never really stupid in the first place. It was just people said we were stupid, and now you're seeing how these guys are so much more smart, are smarter than people give brothers credit for. And you see all these talk shows and talking points, and when these guys speak, you like, oh my god, like I didn't never think of it that way, or I didn't think this guy came from that kind of perspective. And the last thing was, these brothers are breaking the cycle because they're putting themselves first. And I was going to talk about the Jada Pinkett thing, where not the I don't know Will thing per se, but I wound up subscribing to Will Smith channels, and I started looking at it in a way where when these black men start putting themselves first, it bothers people. It ain't just black women, but it bothers people when black men are self-preservation first. When black men say, I'm going to look out for me first. I'm going to be selfish. It's going to be about me. Because normally people are thinking black men are sacrificial lambs, and we will make it about everybody else. And then they'll come up. And then when they come up, they'll say they did it on their own. And that's it. We didn't have to help them, and we sucks. You was in the Calio? Man, ain't no more Calio though. Is the Calio, baby? But here go the link. My bad. But right, they're making waves and changing these narratives. It's not that we getting smarter, it's that we just, because a lot of people feel like, brothers haven't changed the narrative because we didn't put it on TV or we didn't get it on television. But what happened was brothers was just doing it in real life. So when you hear brothers talk about certain things, who we are in real life is different from who people assume that we are in their little imagination. So now it's completely different. It's completely different. So now we at a space where these brothers are breaking the cycles and it's killing people because now when black men break the cycles, or we're breaking the cycles and we're breaking down the stereotypes and we're breaking down the molds and we're getting into the markets and we're competing. Now it's putting, if you scared to go to church, my bad, what's happening? Uh, if we breaking all these molds and we're putting out the antithesis of what's going on, now it puts the ball in everybody else's court. So is it really us or is it really you? You know, is it me or is it you? Wait a minute, what's happening? And what you're seeing is when brothers are breaking a cycle and it's putting everybody else on the spot, they can't handle it because now it puts a mirror up to what's really going on. And what's really going on is not all these black men are messed up. I'm glad you're doing that. Man, I don't even burn as many calories no more. I got your third water. Hold up. Oh shit. Let me cut this off too. Hold up, fam. Hold up, third water. You could I think you in here. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Hold up.
Can
I
you
gotta
hear me?
cut that off. Give me 1 second, fam. You hear me now? No. Hold up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I had to cut off the music.
Okay, okay.
Up to
Yeah,
you.
man. I'm glad you're talking about this. Yeah, it's crazy. I always say that. Our society is like hella backwards. Everything we do everything the backwards way. So instead of like appreciating the people that we should be appreciating and and doing things for, we want to shit on them, but the people that don't do anything for us and that we shouldn't really be appreciating like that, we appreciate them. And then this is why now a lot of young guys like myself and that's younger, you know we've been peeping everything as we've been growing up, because I grew up during the 90s. So when I was growing up, I'm seeing the interactions between a lot of black men and black women, and I'm seeing interactions between street people and people that's not street people, but they grew up in the hood and stuff like that. And what I'm saying, I just see the way things are right now. All of this was just it was going to eventually get to this point because everything was leading up to this point with people doing the things that they did in front of their kids, in front of the youngsters and stuff like that. So like now, you at the point now where the marriage is low, in our communities because a lot of men ain't trying to sign up for the fuckery that we seen growing up, concerning, whether it was our parents or other people's parents and seeing how, their relationship dynamics worked or didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And, we just looked at those things and was like, you know what? Growing up, I'm not gonna be that person. I'm not gonna be that guy that goes through this, and that. And then I guess you got some women that feel kind of the same way too on the other end. But like I said, it's messed up that we're at this point now because it's like the the trust between men and women concerning how we deal with each other is been broken, and I think, excuse me, I think it's beyond repair now at this point because it's like it's so much bullshit that's been done in front of us to where it just made us distrust everything and it made us question everything and around us. And it's like now when you get around people that their intentions isn't fucking you over and isn't trying to do some grimy shit to you, now you question it, because it's like you didn't have that from the beginning in the first place. So now if people actually want to be really genuine with you, you question that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you so used to, being on the guard on defense about, just people screwing you over. And it's sad that we at this point, man. It's really sad because I can remember growing up in a time where, things, it was like when things were about to go bad, but didn't necessarily go bad yet, because I actually was raised by my grandparents and I always wanted what they had, the love and respect excuse me, they always had for one another. It was it was admirable to me and honorable to me, and I always wanted that. But as I got grew up and I got older, that's when I started to see things changing, and it was just like, and then you got to that point, that realization moment where he's like, damn, shit ain't gonna never go back to how it used to be, huh? Like it's really officially over to where like it's not gonna be how it used to be, where everything was growing up feeling good, and family was close to one another, and everybody kept looked out for one another. Everything was real and genuine. People actually did shit for you because they actually genuinely cared about you and loved you, and had some care and concern for you. But like now, it's like it's just the total opposite of that, and it's like no, we don't trust people, man. We just don't trust each other no more at this point, and it's sad that it's like that. But hey, we are where we are. I guess the thing now is, where do we go moving forward, and how do we go about doing that? But I'm gonna let somebody else get in on that.
I got you. Perfectibility, what's happening?
Well, what's up, man?
What's up? Say whatever you
Man,
want, fam.
I just wanted to speak real quick, man. You're talking about dudes breaking, a black man breaking, stereotypes and whatnot. But I want to add a kind of different perspective on that. Now, in my opinion, I don't think that we're breaking stereotypes necessarily, because really, when you look at it, man, a lot of this stuff, as I said in the chat, has been a fucking lie from the beginning.
Right.
The whole deadbeat dads, black men, are not productive. All that shit's been a lie from the beginning. Because what they've been doing is like highlighting a small percentage of the population, highlighting those people and making them like the face of what black men are. But the majority of black men have always been productive, have always been there for their kids, have always been about, a productive life and whatnot. So I think that more so what we're doing right now is like we're bringing to the forefront, what the average black man really is, not necessarily breaking a stereotype per se, because hell, I mean, it's all been a lie from jump. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm gonna add, I want to ask something of both of y'all real quick.
Yeah.
Third, what I know from Houston, you got a either New Orleans or Louisiana accent.
Who, me?
No,
You
Yeah, I
talking about
grew up.
me?
no,
Yeah, I grew
not
up just
you.
out.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I grew up just outside New Orleans.
Okay, so you got to. The reason I'm saying this is because people. Okay, I learned a lot when I moved to Houston, right?
Yeah.
And I was born in New Orleans,
My
and like,
mom's side from New Orleans, by the way. I just want to
right,
throw that in there.
yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that. I remember
yeah.
that. Uh, People really don't take into consideration, because I lived in Chicago and the DMV too. People don't take into consideration in Louisiana in general, but in Louisiana and in Houston, there are a lot of brothers out in these parts who've been had their stuff together for long periods of time. There are a lot of black men who've been homeowners for years. There are a lot of black men who've owned multiple homes. There are a lot of black men who
Hmm.
took care of multiple families. And when I hear those stereotypes in the South, that's what cracks me up, because the vast majority of people grew up in a house that either a man paid for, or a man's how can I say this? Or he by the time he was dead, everybody lived off of what he already put out. So people forget very quickly how they grew up.
Hmm. I mean,
Because
I think we saw. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Third
And
one,
I
you ain't
was,
got to be on mute, fam. You know what I'm saying? If you unmute,
oh
you
no, I was
talk
just
whatever you
saying,
want.
man,
No,
about that whole,
My bad,
no,
Professor.
you go on purpose. You good?
that, no, I'm just saying about that thing, as far as that goes and stuff, man. Like, I think they released some stats in the chat, like basically like. Then they say like 50% of black men are like still in the house and stuff like that. But
Hold up, you Borging. Hold
there are
on, you
guys who do have these.
hold up,
So,
you Borging a little bit, so I can't we can't hear you fully.
go ahead. Let me take care of that. I
You
guess
might
y'all
You
have
can
to
hear
good?
for
go.
the time being.
He
Hold
might
up,
have to
you
go out and come back in. That's what
okay?
he might have to do. Yeah, you might have to go out and come back
Okay.
in, bro. Perfect. But now I want to speak to that point that you was just speaking on, L.A.R, where you was basically saying that a lot of black folks, grew up in a home and stuff like that. Like, like I said, I'm a prime example of that. Like I said, I'm from the south side of Houston. I'm from Third Ward, Texas. You know what I'm saying? And what a lot of people don't even know, I know you probably know this, but what a lot of people don't
Mhm.
know is, back in the day before Third Ward became the quote unquote hood, it used to be a place where successful black folks would come to live so they could be close to downtown Houston where all the jobs was at the time, and they would want to live around other successful black folks. That was the place to be. As a matter of fact, my grandparents, or at least my grandmother, back in the day, she used to own a hair salon in Third Ward, and she was successful. She had it for many years, and then eventually, I want to say around like the time I was coming up as a kid, she decided to sell it because she was getting older, and and then she ended up having a stroke and all this other shit, and she just wasn't able to keep up with it, so she sold it. But I grew up in my grandparents' house. Even though I lived in the hood, I grew up in a home. I'm not from the projects per se, and that's no diss to anybody that did, because I got plenty of friends who grew up in the projects. But what's ironic though is even though I grew up in my grandparents' home, the projects was like literally I could walk outside of my grandparents' home and within like 30 to 50 steps I'd be in the projects right there by the CUNY home projects. And
Hmm.
that's probably the most notorious projects in Third World for those who don't know. And so, you know, what I don't like is like what Perfect was saying when, it's either like the only way you could be the standard quote unquote black person is you either have to be a street cat or you have to be like a success story, a entertain, a athlete or something like that. Like that's the only thing that constitutes as a quote unquote what a real successful black person should be or supposed to be. But if you are a black person that, let's say, you own uh, successful small businesses, that's not good enough. If or a black educator, you're a professor or something like that at prestige school or something like that, that's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? Or that's, you working for the white man, or you know what I'm saying? All this little bullshit that they want to tell you just because you didn't take the traditional route of how a lot of folks take, either entertainment or the streets or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing that is very disingenuous, because like Perfect was saying, a lot of brothers, even from back in the day, grandparents era and all that, they was blue collar workers, and they made good money. You know what I'm saying? And they were successful in their own right. They may not have necessarily been millionaires or no shit like that, but I mean, they were still successful. They still was able to hold their own, pay their bills, take care of their family or whatnot. And it's like now in this day and age, I guess that's not good enough anymore. You got to be some street dude that end up having to make it out the streets. Now you might be a rapper or some kind of entertainer. Maybe like I said, you an athlete or something like that. But if you fall outside of those categories or guidelines, it's like, oh, that's not a black successful story in a lot of people's eyes, and I just find
Yeah.
that to be a bunch of bullshit.
And you know why that is, man? Because see, I mean, a lot of our detractors, man, the people who like to criticize the productive black men, those people have very short-term mindsets, bro. I mean, think about somebody that want to be a rapper or an athlete. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's one of those kind of things where it's like your chances of making it are like super fucking slim. You know what I'm saying? For like every one person trying to be a rapper, you probably got like, I mean, for one person who make it, you might have like 1,000 motherfuckers out there trying to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and as far as the whole business thing, like you were just saying, you might be a small business owner. You might not be rich, but let's just say that you make enough to put you in the upper middle class. For a lot of people, that's not good enough, man. And as far as the dope selling, same thing. Like that sounds like quick money. You know, it sounds like I can jump out here in the game. I can get rich in about a year or so, and I'm living life. So, and usually with these little fast money schemes, they rarely ever turn out that way. So, but people like us who say, you know what, I'm gonna just take this thing day by day, be productive day by day. You know what I'm saying? But we realize that we may not get rich per se. I mean, not if we do, it's not gonna be a fast thing. But we do realize that we'll come out on top in the end. We're not out here, throwing caution to the wind, living reckless. We're not going to end up dead or in jail, most likely. You know what I'm saying? Because we're thinking long term. You know, kids, grandkids, etc. Like, and a lot of them, they just don't have it, bro. They can't think past the next 15 minutes. It seems. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they'll talk shit about somebody like you or me or anybody else who's just a regular, productive black man. You know,
And
because
and
with
see
them,
here's the thing, bro. like I get it. A lot of us come up in these fucked up environments. A lot of us, raised in these single parent type of homes. A lot of us do end up in the streets. Trying to survive and all that kind of shit. I get all that, but see, the problem that I have is we want to glorify that shit. We want to talk about like the good parts of that shit. When you
Mhm.
making money and all this other stuff, but we don't want to talk about the shit that goes along with that, the consequences of that, and the shit, the other side of that. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm not a street cat, never been a street cat, but here's the thing: so majority of people in my family, street cats. A lot of the niggas in the hood who are my friends, are street cats. Hell, what I'm saying, my whole, my father was like a real live drug lord, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that just to use an example to say that, man, I lost my dad to the game. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And every day I wish I didn't lose him to the game. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to figure out a lot of shit on my own, especially once my grandparents died, because that's really who raised me. And they died, I want to say, right around the time I got to like middle school, going to high school. And then after that, I had to kind of figure out everything else on my own. You know what I'm saying? So, it wasn't easy for me. You know what I'm saying? But, I found myself and it was what it was. But at the same time, I'm just basically saying all that to say, man, like that shit, we glorify that shit when, everything is good. But when the shit start going bad, now all of a sudden we don't want no part of that. And it's like,
Yeah.
that shit don't really do nothing but break up families, cause a lot of dysfunction. That shit ends up, you know what I'm saying? It basically just destroys the community and all the people that's in it. You know what I'm saying? And to a point that what L.A.R was talking about earlier when he was talking about a lot of cats who live in the South who, are successful, you know what I'm saying, who, probably, blue collar or maybe middle class or whatever that live in nice areas or nice homes or whatever. L.A.R knows about this, but there's like this I guess like a suburb. It's a suburb a little bit outside of Houston. It's called Humble, Texas, right? And Humble is like real nice, kind of quiet, low key, kind of country a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Nice 2, 3 story type of homes or whatever. And I remember back in the day, my one of my aunts was talking to this cat that he had a nice little spot out there, whatever, nice little layout out there, good job. Where he was making like I want to say he was making about like he was like some kind of special technician for like AT&T. He was making like damn near like a quarter of a million a year, and you know what I'm saying. And instead of trying to make things work out with him and fuck with him, she's still chasing behind the local street cats that even nowhere making half the money that he got. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, people,
Man.
certain people in the family try telling her, like, look, man, this dude a catch, you know what I'm saying? Like, you tripping, da da da. But, because he not out there in them streets doing X, Y, and Z, he ain't good enough. And, what I'm saying, she ended up, leaving his ass to go fuck around with some nothing ass motherfucker. And then, he ended up getting married, like I want to say a couple years later, the dude that she left. And, he happy now. He living a good life. Meanwhile, my aunt, she, pretty much suffering right now. Don't nobody want her. She got left with a couple babies and all that. And so it's like when you see this shit happen in real life in real time, bro, it's just crazy because it's like you seeing this shit, and then now that we here having these conversations on in these spaces, it's like damn, man, like I thought I was the only one growing up seeing this shit, but damn, it's like everybody is like seeing the same shit I'm seeing too.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something
Hold
about that
on
shit
for a
right there.
second, perfect. Hold on, Bishop. I know you in there, but your device hasn't connected yet. So when it do, that's when I'm gonna just bring you on because it won't let me let you up. You got it, perfect.
I was just gonna say, man, in continuation about that whole street shit that third ward talking about. Like, look, bro, I used to be out there. I mean, I wasn't no drug lord. I wasn't no menace Scarface or no shit like that. But I used to be out there though. Now, but one thing I realized about that gang, when I got a little bit older and began to see things for what they were. One thing I realized, bro, is that a lot of people who are in the streets, when you look at the kind of money that they make, I mean, the allure of it is that okay, you can get rich quick. But when you look at it in all reality, a lot of them dudes are really making just above minimum wage, if that much.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, because like, okay, let's say you make a couple $100 a night or something like that. I mean, you got to put some money aside to fucking re up. If you're smart, you got to put some bond money aside, some lawyer money, and all. I mean, all kind of stuff, man. So a lot of them dudes, man, are making minimum wage, bro. So the game
Nah,
ain't what
that's
it's cracked.
facts. That's
Yeah, the
facts,
game ain't
bro.
what it's cracked up to be, man. It's not what they make it out to be, bro.
All
And
it
And I tell like a lot of little young dudes this these days, bro. Like I don't know if they believe me or not. I mean, but I do try and tell them that, like, dude, you're probably better off going to fucking McDonald's or Walmart or fucking Amazon or somewhere getting you a job, bro. Don't fuck with this.
That like I used to clown with my friends about that, right? Because the only difference is you're not paying taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, and I was talking to my girl about this like a couple of days ago. I was like, people never took into consideration. First and foremost, they used to have older men tell you stuff like, look, man, this is some grown folk stuff. So if you jump off this porch, you fair game. And
Mm-hmm.
that has gone. I don't know why that part is gone, but that's what it is. But beyond that part, people don't add. People don't add. You know, because I was telling, I said you would a eight ball back in the day was like 180. You make 360. You're not finna take that 360 and get two eight balls. I was like, most people don't think like that because a lot of people were kids. You just wanted enough money for sneakers, for food. You know what I'm saying, to go kicking it. So this idea that everybody was like this drug dealer and drug lord, that's a lie. It's like there's a lot of dudes just working for somebody and they kept running out of money. They only kept their re-up money. They never really saved money.
Mm-hmm.
No,
But
that's facts. That's fact. And here's another thing too. What Perfect was talking about, basically these guys nowadays just making like above minimum wage, if that, like that's true because if you let's just be honest, if you was gonna be the so-called dope man or the big time drug dealer, the time for that was the 80s and the 90s because that's when a lot of people was making a lot of money, making millions and stuff like that. Especially if you was in certain crews or whatnot, certain people that you knew had what you needed. You was making a lot of money. That was a time for it. And then back then the laws were a little bit more relaxed on drug dealers before they started giving dudes
mhm.
like the double digit sentencing for just for each kilo of coke or whatever that what I'm saying. So nowadays it ain't like that no more. First of all, I got people that's still in the streets right now, and they telling me like it ain't what it used to be. It ain't, the
No.
work is dry. It's not plentiful like it used to be back in the 80s and the 90s when motherfuckers was getting 20 tons of cocaine and all this type of stuff. Motherfuckers getting like tons and boulders of that shit. Now, motherfuckers be lucky if they get 1 kilo of coke, let alone 20 or 200 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So niggas that ain't really out here, making that kind of money or living that kind of lifestyle that they was living, back in the 80s and 90s. And prime example of that, I got a homeboy right now. Probably one of my best friends. Grew up with him. Me and him from the same hood and everything. He, used to be one of those guys, used to be in the streets doing this thing, making good money, with drugs and stuff. But now, as of recently, he's had to, rely on doing other stuff, kicking in doors, all kind of, crazy ass shit. You know what I'm saying? And now his ass, doing some time for that. You know what I'm saying? And what's even more fucked up is, I want to say, 2 months after he turned himself in, because he had to do some time for a crime that he got caught up in, his fucking mother passed away from the damn coronavirus. So,
Oh
it's
man.
like, what I'm saying? So it's like all the shit that you do, what I'm saying? Whether it's in the streets, whether it's to somebody, man, you fuck over somebody, man, all that shit eventually catches up with you, man, in some kind of way or form. You know what I'm saying? So, when people go out there doing this type of things, man, you better think about the long run and the payback because you're gonna suffer in some kind of way. You're gonna pay in some kind of way. It may not be the way you think you gonna end up having to suffer, but you're gonna suffer some kind of way or form and have to pay a heavy price for the shit that you did that fucked over a lot of people.
Hold on for a second. Hey, Bishop Timothy, it won't let me, like, your device still not connected. Drop off and come back. If you're in the chat and if you can't hit the link again, I'll drop the link in the chat again because it is not gonna let me let you up because it's just a warning screen right now. So
Hey,
just so
see,
you know, I don't want you to be down there and think I'm just holding you back. The white man is holding you back.
yeah, I say, bro. I mean, I'm about to go ahead and jump off, but yeah, I just want to get on and say that a little bit, though, man. Like, I mean, it's not so much that we're breaking cycles; is that we're bringing to the forefront what has always been going on. Because you've had a lot of people out here who have been lying on us, to push their own little agendas and stuff. So,
Right.
I mean, they want to hide the dirt that they've been doing, or they want to use us. So, been a lot of lies told. So we're just telling people like, look, bro. What y'all have put out there about us, that's not true. We're taking control of our own narrative now. Fuck y'all. That's what I see going on.
Absolutely. That's part of, like, when I said it earlier in the beginning, it was like some of the things are true and some of the things aren't. And it's putting people on blast right now.
Exactly. Like, I mean, this is not to say that no black men are out there with the bullshit. I mean, yeah, we know that they have been, but again, you want to take like what's maybe 20% of the population and prop them up as being the norm. When I mean, no, 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 no. With the advent of social media and all that, we're fighting the fuck back. We can't have that.
Yeah, I wanted to add to Perfect's point when he basically saying about the whole breaking the cycle thing. I want to add to that. I think black men nowadays are doing two things. We're breaking the cycle is one of them, but I think the other thing that we're doing is we're setting the new standard of what we believe black men should be and should stand for. And we speaking for the productive black man, what I'm saying, the one that's actually out here every day contributing to society in some way, fashion, or form. The one that's out here, making sure that this country runs a certain kind of way, what I'm saying, to where everybody can do what they need to do to take care of themselves and maybe their loved ones and that kind of stuff. And I think that it's kind of like a culture shock right now because for so long, a lot of black men did certain things and didn't even know why they did it. They just did it just because they were either raised and taught that this is what you should do. And as we've gotten older, a lot of us have started to, wake up and be like, well, why am I doing this? What particular reason am I doing this for? And whatever it is that I'm doing, is this really benefiting me in the long run? And if it isn't, why have I been doing this particular thing for so long? Like for instance, you had people that we've talked about the whole stepdaddy era and about how a lot of black men don't want to play that stepdaddy role no more, like how they used to in the past. And part of that is because guys like myself who grew up, saw that they didn't really get no kind of love or no respect, for those roles that they play. You know what I'm saying? And so, when we was growing up, as young as we was saying to ourselves coming up, like, man, I'm not gonna be that nigga, doing this and doing that, and I don't even at least get a thank you out of it. I mean, if nothing else, I don't even get a thank you or I appreciate that. Like, I'm not asking for, no damn key to the city or no medal or no award. I'm just like, damn, just a generous thank you would suffice. But they didn't even get that. So coming up, like I said, guys like myself that are now a little bit older from back then, we like, man, hell no, we not doing that shit because we saw what that led. You know what I'm saying? That led to a bunch of nowhere and motherfuckers getting underappreciated, undervalued, and so now it's like, like, man, why do that? And and in a way, what it's kind of done is it's made, I want to say, all of that stuff that was going on back in those generations, from the street stuff to the single mother stuff, step daddy era and all that, it's pretty much not only made a lot of black men question everything from their past up until this point, until they got older, and it's made them question why they thought the way they did and did certain things back then. But also, it's just made us be like, well, you know what? We see that this is not really beneficial towards us. It's only beneficial towards everybody else, pretty much the elderly, the women, and the children. So you know what? At this point, we want to do things for ourselves now that actually benefit, us instead
Right.
of just everybody else. And so now, a lot of I guess people can say, we live in a very individualistic, selfish kind of society where we only looking out for us and selves. But again, the reason why it's gotten this way is because of everything that's happened in the past. If all of those things didn't happen that way, who knows? Maybe we wouldn't be this way. But basically, the point I'm trying to make is it's basically made men more self-sufficient on their own, to where we got to do for us and we got to put
Hold
our
up.
own best self-interest first before anybody else's.
Hold up. Hold up. Bishop, you in the chat. Turn on your mic. That's why it's not gonna let you on. Either turn on your mic. One of the things has a mic on it, and one has a camera on it. You ain't got to turn on the camera, but take your mic off and mute. The minute you do that, it's gonna open up so I can let you in here. Because that's what it's telling me right now, because I got it on you.
And another thing I want to
But
say real quick, you know, if you really think about everything that black men go through, especially in this country, as far as just trying to make it day by day, trying to persevere and trying to become successful, hopefully in the future or whatnot, all the stuff that we go through, we done been raised through all that. Man, any other race of person, would probably then off themselves, at a early age going through the shit that we deal with. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of us made it through despite all of that bullshit, and we don't even get credit for that. Like we don't even, what I'm saying? Like they don't even give us credit just for that alone. You know what I'm saying?
The deadbeat dad thing and the stepdad era was the same era, and people forget about it. Like they say, these guys are deadbeats and these guys are no good. At the same time, most of these people had stepdaddies. That's what, like, to me, that's like the slap in the face with the disrespect. Yeah, you might not, if you had your daddy, he was there. If you didn't have your dad, you probably had a stepdad or a father figure. And the irony of those guys don't get the credit that they deserve. You know, and when you was talking about the things not being able, brothers have how you said it, where brothers would have off themselves to other people, they would have. Because at the end of the day, either they would have off themselves or they'd have ostracized themselves because they got tired of it. And a lot of this stuff is to me what keeps going on. When I was talking about brothers breaking the cycle, that's what it is. It's the same thing you and Perfect was saying is, you know, it's changed. These men have changed because they see what happens when they're doing certain things. Seen it from young men to seeing it to old men. And one more time, Bishop, just hit that, unmute your mic. When you unmute your mic, it's gonna let you on. Because the thing is saying your guests will need to connect their mic and cam before you can add them to the stream. So that's the only reason I can't let you on, because your mic and cam ain't connected yet.
And just think
Yeah,
about it,
Sketch.
LA. Think about this,
You
LAR.
got it.
What's been black man's biggest complaint probably the last 40 to 50 years? Its two biggest complaints is we don't feel appreciated, number one. Number two, we don't feel respected. And just think about it. You're not getting respected or appreciated. You feel like, and I'm talking about a big group of black men who feel like this. You're not getting appreciated or respected from people in your family. You're not getting appreciated, respected by, the women that you supposedly, are interested in because they've been conditioned and brought up to be a certain kind of way that basically goes against what you trying to do and how you trying to move and operate. And so, it's like this is why a lot of men today basically just feel indifferent about everything. We feel indifferent about relationships, about, family, all this stuff, because it's like, we've seen how, like I said, how those men that play certain roles and, speaking about that, you have, lots funny, a lot of black women will say things like, oh, we don't respect black men because y'all ain't out here building anything, y'all ain't out here sacrificing and all this kind of stuff, when last time I checked it was black men that built this country from the ground up. What I'm saying? It was black men, before, women started to rely on the state and the government to basically subsidize them and take care of them. It was us that was taking care of them, putting them in homes and, all this type of stuff. But once all of that went away and stuff like that, now all of a sudden, all men ain't doing nothing. But you forget it's actually men still out here that is doing for people and stuff like that. It's just that they're not going to do for people that's trying to go against everything that they're trying to do. That's going to benefit not only them but you as well. You know what I'm saying? And if you constantly bucking up and fighting against that, then it's like, what do you expect them to do? Keep trying? You expect them to just stay there forever? To keep trying to convince you to get with the program and you're not getting with the program? Like, that's not going to happen. Eventually he's going to say, man, F you. And, if you're not trying to get the program, okay, well then, F it, I go elsewhere. And when I say I go elsewhere, that doesn't necessarily even mean outside of the race. I'll just go deal with somebody that's willing to, get down on my program and not necessarily fight me tooth and nail about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that becomes, like, to me, that becomes one of the big issues over time, because when they say brothers ain't building nothing, I I understand what they're trying to say in a degree, but on the other end, I'm like, you know how many freebies y'all got from these black men? I got you now, Bishop. I see you now. You, if you want to cut off the camera, you can. I see you now. I'm about to put you on right now. Hold up.
All right, you got me?
Yeah, you got you. You know what? Speak your piece, because you've been in there trying to get on for a minute. So you got it.
Well, what's been happening, bro, is this. We get so distracted by all of this noise that's going on that we don't sit down and decide this is direction I want to go in. And once you decide that, and if you really, really are down with that, then nothing, none of that other mess can stop you. Because one thing I notice about women, women will follow you if you're moving forward and you don't pay no attention to her noise. You know, I've been self-employed basically since I was 20 in my 20s. And that was because at that time, I realized that, I couldn't wear a beard. It was that craziness about a beard. It was that craziness about what area of town you lived in and all that nonsense. So I found something that I was good at that made me money. And so until I decided I was going to go back to school, that's what I did. I washed windows. I did all kinds of stuff. And when it came down to these women, I let them know right up front, just like I put in the chat. I like, look, let me tell you this right up front. See, we get in a relationship and then we waiting, wanting whatever we wanting from her. And then when her mess come up, we act like throwing our hands up, like I don't know where this came from. If you establish your place in the beginning, then she got to make a decision which way she want to go, and she can't play that nonsense with you.
I'm gonna ask this question, and this for both of y'all. Like, when you out in the world, do you see the response that people give you when they expect you to be one way, and then you respond, and then they kind of shook?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I love every minute of it.
And to me, it's like, well, who told you that I was gonna be this way, or who told you that I was gonna be that way? Like, who told you this?
I wanted to speak to Bishop's point real quick, where he was talking about establishing yourself from the beginning, with the woman. And, I feel him on that. I agree with that. But see, here's where I got to give Bishop just a little pushback is that here's the thing about women, and a lot of men don't know this at first, but eventually you'll come to find this out about women. A lot of women are very, very good actors, or excuse me, actresses. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women, I've seen women that, they get with a guy, you know what I'm saying? They date, they just, boyfriend and girlfriend, and it moves to fiance at some point, and then eventually she becomes the wife and stuff. And you really truly see a woman for who she truly is and what she really is once you move in with her and once y'all get married. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when her real self comes out. Prior to that, she's going to be on her best behavior. She's going to play her role, do what she got to do to get to that point. But once she gets there and she feels safe and secure enough to where she can let her true self come out, best believe her true self is going to come out. And I've seen so many dudes, they thought they married the perfect one and had the best relationship in the world, and then they get to that point where they marry the chick after being with her for so long and all this kind of stuff, and then next thing you know, her true self start coming out. And then really what it ultimately boils down to is a lot of these women nowadays, you could have your shit together, you could establish stuff, but the bottom line is these women want the control and the power of the relationship and of a man. That's what they want. They want a guy that they can control. If they can't control you, then they'll fuck with you for a while, but eventually they'll try to find a reason to basically shake shit up with you just because they want to always be the one in control, because they feel like if the man is in control, then they feel like at any given time he could, either fuck over her or leave her high and dry. So they want to be always in a position of power so they can be the one to say, I'm the one that did this and did that. He didn't leave me high and dry. I left him high and dry. You get what I'm saying?
I feel you. So now, as you're talking, listen to the kind of guy you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? You're talking about the kind of guy that's accepting stuff. You're accepting stuff from her. See, I don't know. I've been a martial artist all my life, and every time I look at my opponent, I'm not just looking at him to beat him. I'm looking at his strategy. So that way, every time he come and nope, you can't go that way. Nope, you can't go that way either. Even if I have to learn how to fight southpaw, I've always got something to switch it up. That's something you got to learn though, because I hung around a lot of older guys, and I used to watch their moves. You know what I'm saying? And when a woman come with some nonsense with them, they say, "I ain't trying to hear that. You might as well take yourself home," and just, really walk away. You know what I'm saying? We can't be afraid to walk away from trouble. If you didn't marry her and make a commitment to her, a lifetime pact, son. If she come with something and you ain't for that, say, look, bye, I'm out. Because she'll say it, and you just said it. She'll say it.
But see,
Check
that's what
her
I'm
out
talking about.
like she's
I'm
checking
speaking
you
on
out.
I'm speaking on the married guys. See, that's why the guys that aren't married, that's why they're hesitant and they're like, man, well, screw this marriage shit, because they've seen people in their personal lives deal with this shit of going through that type of shit, and they like, so you mean in their minds they like, so you mean to tell me her true face gets shown after the marriage and the honeymoon phase is over, like the mask is she's taking the mask off after all of this, like after I tied a knot with her. And a lot of men are saying like, well, you know what, fuck that, I just rather just carry on about my business, maybe get with a woman here and there, for pleasure purposes, you know what I'm saying, but to try to be committed to a woman, when they just gonna fake play this role up until the point where they feel comfortable to show their true selves. Like a lot of men are saying, you know what, screw all that. Like I'm not even gonna deal with all of that.
Well, the
Sketch.
women these days.
Hold up. Sketch, what you got? 'Cause he asked for a long time ago. He just got here. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, Sketch. Uh-oh. You there? All right, then, Bishop, go ahead.
See, there it is again. You see what I'm saying? We accept the standard of what a marriage is supposed to be. There is a vow that goes along with marriage. And if a woman wants to get involved with you, she's gonna have to adhere to that. You see what I'm saying? Don't just jump in because you think you know what it is about the whole ceremonial thing, because that's what she's playing on. But you playing on the reality. The reality is that after the honeymoon is over, you're gonna have to go to work and you're gonna have to take care of business. She's gonna have to take what she's supposed to take care of. But if it's only a ceremony to her, then she can play that game. Say, no, baby, we going over this threshold. This is what I'm promising you, and this is what you need to promise to me. If you can't do that, then we need to just, like you said, I need to just find me, just go ahead and do my thing. And don't get it wrong. No, I'm a minister, and I encourage marriage. But nowadays, these women are clowning you so bad that they'll make you, just like you said, not want to be involved in it. So we got to, like I say, being a man means that you got to have a strategy for your entire life. And anything that gets involved with you got to be going along with your plan, because God made you the head, not her, not anybody else.
But see, I want to say this though, to what he just said real quick. Let me say I agree with everything he just said. I don't disagree not one bit. The only problem with what he's saying is that, like I said, a lot of us that grow up, without a father or without, men, in our household, we're not taught direction or self purpose. We're not taught to plan out things. We just kind of getting by day, and we trying to learn on the fly. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these guys, they don't learn all of these things, that everything you just said, till like way later on when they get older, and then it hit them like, oh shit, so this is how I should have been moving, or this is how I was supposed to be, because they didn't get that, because they didn't have an opportunity, because there was no man in his environment basically tell him like, look, this is how you should handle yourself, and this is how you should move, this is how it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. Feeling that all the
Hold
way
on for a
too.
second. Hold on, my backup singer is here. You never be a lead, you're a backup
You,
singer.
you know I'm the lead, man. We kicked you out the group, man. We voted you out 2 months ago. You just didn't know.
That
What's
nigga.
up, George? Go for it, man.
What's going on? Hey, I just want to say to brothers, one thing brothers got to stop doing is don't look at somebody else's marriage or relationship and equate that to yours, or
Boom.
what yours would be. Because first of all, you and that brother is two different people. The way y'all
Yes,
deal
sir.
with situations, conflict resolutions is two different. That your woman and that woman is two different. So
Yes,
do not
sir.
be very careful with that. Don't look at
Yes,
somebody else
sir.
and say, man, that's going to discourage me from being married. I've been married 13 years, man. If a brother like me can be married, man, anybody can be married. You
That's
know what I mean?
right.
If somebody read my resume and do all that kind of stuff, they like, how is this fool married for 13 years? So nah. Grandkids and everything. So no, it all depends on you individual. And because I tell brothers all the time, because a lot of us grew up in fractured homes with no dad, I think a lot of times being married is better than not being married. Because if you look at a lot of brothers that's not married, man, they cause a lot of problems for their life. Just being willy nilly and going along because we don't have a structure. Like a lot of
Hmm.
us go to school and get education, but that don't mean that we still understand manhood or fatherhood.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we mistake getting education as if we understand the whole aspect of what it is to be a man. out in society. So,
Hold up, you breaking up a little bit, George.
oh,
Facts.
it's probably where I'm at. Y'all hear me better?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just telling brothers, like, we can't look at it just, okay, I went and got the degree, so I got it figured out. No. So now if you don't have a wife and you just sleeping with woman to woman from about 25 till you get to about 45, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, so you got to be careful. That's all I'm saying. It's an individual. You got to look at yourself and say what it is I want for myself, and how to protect myself from certain things. And it had nothing to do with the woman. It's you, the person, the man.
Yeah,
That's
Hey
absolutely.
George, I feel what George is saying. I guess the only question I would ask him is, okay, so my question is like, whose relationship are you supposed to look at and say? Because I think with black folks, I think a lot of us, we if we don't see something, in front of us, we don't know like good examples or something. Like I would say for myself, my example of what I would want in a marriage is what my grandparents had. Now
There you
I get what my grandparents had. That was a different time, different era, so I might not get that. But to me, that's like probably one of the only few good examples of what a black marriage should be was what my grandparents had. Everybody else I knew, it really wasn't that good of a marriage. So I guess I'm trying to figure out like who are we supposed to look
go.
at example
I
and be
answer.
like, okay,
There's thousands of good black marriages out here. The problem is we have a preconceived notions of marriage and the way we view women today, and the way we view
Absolutely.
some of the news. So once that's in your head, that's the energy, and that's what you're going to see. There's
That's right.
thousands of black men that's married, thousands of
Mm-hmm.
successful too, and
Yep.
every woman ain't fucked up in her head or just think the way that some of these women think. You got to place.
Mm-hmm.
You got to say. If you say, see, for me, I said to myself when I came home from prison, I said, I want something different than what I had growing up. I didn't have my mom growing up. I raised by my dad. I want a wife. So I considered my mom for having a wife and a family. That's what I went and manifested. And I've been with this woman 16 years, 13 years marriage. I created what I wanted. And that's what you got to tell you. So if you got in your head what societal norms say about black people, then that's what you're going to manifest. I didn't
well, here's the thing, George. Here's the thing. It's not about me necessarily going off of what mainstream media says. It's about what I've actually seen growing up. And
No,
basically, the
that's what I said.
question that
Societal norms. But what
yeah,
I'm saying is,
yeah,
it's but outside the societal norms within the society, all of us see because we go by that, then we just all just fucked up. That's
Absolutely.
because we not.
but I mean, it is a lot of us that's fucked up though. That's the point I'm trying to get at though.
But there's a
Like,
lot of us
there's a
that's
lot of us
not.
that's fucked up.
But what I'm
you
saying
know
is,
what?
it's more of us that's not fucked up than is. They just promote that. It's 40 million of us. It's millions of us that's not fucked up. You just got to
Well,
look to that side.
I
well,
think you got it, Bishop. You got it, because I'm gonna keep
yeah.
it short. Go
You
ahead.
know what? You know what? You know what people miss? They miss that before there was a marriage, there was a relationship. You and that person getting along, having agreements, having disagreements, working them out. And just because you make a vow to each other, you really already made the vow before you got to the paperwork. The paperwork just keep you in the good graces of the church, and so that the state can track what's going on in your family. So let's get away from the paperwork for a minute and think about that woman or think about that man. You see what I'm saying? What is she today? The same people. And if you let that thing get to you, just like brother said, there's plenty of successful relationships. What did they find out? They find out that the marriage license is sitting in a safe somewhere or in a folder, and it's them living together day by day. Has nothing to do with all of that other stuff. You see what I'm saying? So how you get along with your woman and how your woman get along with you is going to determine the course of that relationship, not some piece of paper.
What's interesting about these things is I don't think a lot of people understand black men change.
Yes, we do.
And
We evolve.
when brothers change and make a decision to change, we're judged on somebody else's imagination of what they think we are.
Exactly.
True. That's true.
And this
Facts.
is
That's
this is
facts.
why we have these issues, because I I'm breaking the cycle of things that I want in my life, but at the same time I don't know, I'm breaking the cycle of your imagination and me and your mind too, even though I don't really know what your imagination is. So you got these brothers who have this is one of the issues to me, is where I can't like when I'm looking out in society, because even that thing that people was talking about recently with Jada Pinkett, right? When she's like, she don't know Will. But part of what she said was she had an idea who she was in her mind, even though they was married. She wasn't taking into consideration who he actually was. And this
Exactly.
is what happens when dealing with people. Hold on for 1 second. Sketch, you in here now, but let me finish this real quick. Um, what winds up happening in society when we deal with people, people have a certain idea about us when we're kids, when we're
Hmm.
teenagers, when we're young men, and when we're grown men, even when we're old men. But that's what they think. And then what we are don't match up what they think. They have a big
Hmm.
problem.
Yes,
And
they
it's
do.
like that's your problem. That's not my problem.
Exactly.
Hey,
You
let
know.
me hop in real quick, and then I'm gonna hop off. I think
Okay.
that's the main issue right there. L.A.R. is, just using the Jada Pickett example, right? Like you said, she thought she knew who she thought that she knew who he was based off of whatever she thought about him. But come to find out, they get married, they be together all this time. He's probably different than what she thought he would be. And my thing is this: if you don't know who a person is after being married to them for so long, or you don't try to get to know who somebody is instead of just assuming who they are based off of what you think about them, then why are you married to that person in the first place? Like that's my whole thing. Like, because if you're not gonna put in the work to get to know a person and you just gonna go off of what you think, then to me that's where you fucked up from the beginning anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, before you go, you back from Ohio?
Nah, man, I'm still up here right now, man. I'm trying to get down now. I'm supposed to be coming back home to Houston. I want to say probably like the way it's looking now, maybe July, probably coming back. So
Okay. Like anybody who ever been to Houston on OST, they got this food truck called Stuffed Wings. Jesus
Hmm.
Christ.
oh yeah, that's the first place I'm pulling up too. As soon as I touch
Woo.
down and I leave the airport, that's the first place I'm pulling up. So you already know.
Oh,
You better
that's
get
all I
this
wanted to
real
say because
fast.
he them stuffed wings is a beast, boy.
All right, LA, I
All
appreciate you,
right,
bro.
you got
Hold
it.
it
All right.
down, bro. All right,
You
peace,
got it.
y'all.
Peace. Sketch, you there? Uh-oh.
Hello?
Yeah, you there.
Hello? Can you,
Yeah, I can hear you.
oh,
We
you
can
hear
hear
me
you.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everything worked through the mic, through my phone, stuff like that. Yeah.
So go
How you
ahead.
doing? How y'all doing, brothers?
We good. Speak your
Good,
mind,
good
Yeah,
fam.
too.
I want to speak from. I want to speak from my opinion, from me growing up. I'm an '80s baby, so, born in the early '80s, little up to now. I'll be close to 40 next year. So, the changes I've seen, living in New York too, and grew up in the projects, and seeing the changes, how it's black men in one way and then another way, it's been a whole lot and everything. I do see a little more positive that, you know, and I'm noticing that too now because, I've seen from another YouTuber, when he made videos about this back, the rise of the simp culture and everything from the 80s to the 90s. And I didn't really pay heed to that because I did a lot of stuff to get with women that, you see in those music videos and it never worked out. I was a former guy that signed up to be a stepfather because I dated a woman that I fell in love with for the wrong reasons, everything. But I was close to her child. Like I was the father for a child and I loved being that. But she didn't appreciate that way of me. So I know how it feels to be not appreciated. And I almost felt I kind of felt almost to that trap and everything, yeah, like it didn't end out well, for me at the end, but my sanity's more better now and stuff like that. That was many years ago, but yeah, like a lot of dudes now these days not signing up for that. Like yeah, because they starting to see that they look back in time and stuff like that. Like a lot of the dudes that think they had game with women and stuff like that. Some people really did not have game like you think they did. Like they did a lot of you know indirect manipulation females because that always puzzled me. Like when I was younger, like yo, why don't y'all niggas just stay single and be direct with these chicks, man? Like yo, but you know what I'm saying? And they not like I always see them go through arguments so much, and like I try to be that guy to be the opposite, but did it the wrong way. Like in my perspective, like trying to be liked, and then when I started seeing the manosphere, in the black manosphere, the red pill community, to better myself as a man and everything. I started learning the nature of what men and women sexual nature is towards each other and
Hmm.
everything. Better myself as a man more and more. what I'm
Yes,
seeing
sir.
now is that that I see more attack from us men than the women more now these days. I seen certain people that's online. I'm like, okay, you saying you disaware red pill, but you teach other men not to be in relationships and stuff like that. You still sounding from a better perspective. And I'm like, yo, why a lot of dudes following these fools like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, the whole point of being aware, being red pill aware, is just accepting things what they are, to better yourself, so your future and relationships and you know what I'm saying could be better. You be more aware, like so you won't have to go through it no more, stuff like that, and everything. I don't know if he's just like I said, back in my days, I used to see certain all the grandparents and all the old couples in the good relationships and everything. I still want that myself, but I have to. I'm going through it from another perspective view now. Like you know what I'm saying, or maybe it always been that way, but I just haven't seen it. Like I said, like I always feel like this way: when we a child, we see things from a kid's perspective, like different point of our lives and stuff like that. Reason why we probably see things different now, because now we seeing it from a grown up man's perspective in our lives. Just like I said, with the and with the coming up of online technology, now that us men, especially us black men, got a voice to speak now with our platform. Because back in the 80s and 90s, women had their perspective to speak for so many platforms, and now we building our platform now to speak up. We seeing things from another different perspective now, but and you know what I'm saying?
I'm
And
a,
I'm bending myself as a man more and more. I think Brother George was saying himself, you got to prove yourself as a man first and everything for that woman to follow you and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Word.
gonna add to that by saying this, like, because when we say, I didn't see something in the past, a lot of us don't take into consideration that our older generations didn't see things either, but they became them. So what winds up happening is when we decide to when we make the decision to become something that we haven't seen, people don't know how to deal with us because now they are seeing something that they wish to exist, but now it does. And I see a lot of the older I get, I see a lot of black men who people miss now because they're like, dang, I didn't realize what he was until now.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people can't fathom what we are when we have become the men that we want to be.
Right.
So that becomes an issue. Somebody doubling it back.
Yeah, there's some back. Hey, and let me ask you, L.A.R. See, because the thing that gets confusing to me is, as a man, what's when I hear in Black YouTube in the male spaces, what's the conversation? Are we red pilling to teach brothers how to actually work in relationships with women who maybe didn't have the knowledge, or are we going anti women, but men are still having sex without a thought of being married? Because that's more destructive. So like, what's the conversation? Because my thing is, if the red pill is to actually get brothers in certain spaces where brothers can communicate and learn from each other on what manhood is and how to be, what masculinity is in a relationship, so you can draw that energy with you. To me, that's the confusing part of the conversation. Because for brothers like me, and even educated brothers, if you telling brothers to not be married, but brothers having sex, that's a problem as well too. And it calls and it mixes women with.
Well, the irony about that is when you look at the vast majority of the guys who are like the red pill guys,
Yes.
either they're married or in long-term relationships.
Okay.
So the people who follow them are the people who are single. Now you got another faction of guys who are saying that they red pill, and they basically pick up artists just trying to pump and dump.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I was trying to understand the narrative. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Like so you like the faction of the guys who are red pill, like this is a woman's nature. Those guys are with women. They've been with women, and normally the same woman for a long period of time.
Right. They
Right.
just trying to educate brothers on how to maneuver and
Right,
operate with a woman.
right. They just like an old married man, can't live with him, can't live without him type thing. You know, but then you got other brothers who like, man, because this is how women are. If you're gonna be a player, this how you gonna play them before they play you type thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't like to me, them type of dudes are dangerous to me because it sends a wrong message to men that's already that a lot of us didn't grow up with our fathers. And you gotta remember, man, a woman can have one baby a year, a man can make 10 to 20.
Right,
So
but
when that message is being disseminated to a lot of guys on that
hold
pump
on.
and dump player shit, that's dangerous.
Somebody got to mute up because what y'all doing in the background keep popping up on the mic. But
Like,
the thing about it is, when you how can I put this? If you notice, only certain type of guys. Hold up, hold up. Only certain type of guys could do it. Only certain type of guys. Sketch, mute up from time to time. That's you popping in the back. Um, and I don't know somebody and Bishop, you might be doubling. And somebody playing a live in the background. Okay, that's you, Sketch. I got you. Appreciate it. What winds up happening is only certain type of guys could be the players to pump and dump, and that's what the problem is. Like even with
thank
that,
you.
like
Yep.
you got to understand, you might not be able to be the guy that just constantly pump and dump. And if you're really going to be truthful about this, that little the player phase, because women have a player phase, men have a player phase. It's a phase. You can't do that for a lifetime
Nope.
Right.
because
No,
you
it will hit you.
right. It's gonna catch up with you, and people ain't gonna want you after a certain point because
Well,
you're gonna be the old player. You're not gonna be the new player.
well, something happens to an individual when they do things for a long time. When it's time to make the change, it's tough to stop. And that's one of the challenges we have in as people is that we've been doing mess for so long that now it's needful that we change. Every time I get into a chat room or in a conversation, people bring up black culture. Well, my question is, what is that? Because your brother Bishop just said, he said, well, there's some guys that's telling people not to get married, and then there's the guys that say get married. What are we for as a culture? And what are we for as a people? What are we for anywhere? What is the standard of a man for us? And then once we establish that, that's what we spread around. Forget about the other stuff.
Yeah, I think black culture, especially for black men, because if you look at all the liberties that we do have today, was fought for by black men that actually had wives or black women that actually had husbands. It was done through the black family. When we take inventory of our ancestry and where we come from and the struggle for us to be able to go to school, it was with families. And I know it was a different time, but if we say what is black culture is what we come from and the struggle that gave us the opportunities that we have. So it's just like for me, I just look at it as an aspect of, I just think that it has to be, let me just put it this way. I learned this in prison from brothers from the Nation of Islam taught me this. I didn't understand what standards was, or didn't understand as a man. I didn't have standards. I thought
Mm-hmm.
I thought with the head below my belly, but not the one below my head. And they taught me what leadership was as a man. Leadership is a man that could put sex secondary
Right.
and could put leading first. But
Exactly.
we're taught to lead. We're taught to lead with our head, and education. You don't escape that just because you got education. We're
Right.
just taught. We're taught to think. We're taught to think as we're masculine figures. As how I can slay a woman, instead of being a problem solver. Being able to observe a situation and being a problem solver to make my life better or to make things around me better.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot of brothers that they great at having sex, but that's the only thing they great at doing. So, or they the loudest brother in the room. And I had to learn. I had to learn because even my daddy went to work every day and taught me things, but I never understood what standards was for a man. I never understood that. And what real leadership as a man is. And a lot of us as men, especially black men, because we're not raised in the house with fathers,
Mm-hmm.
we don't understand that. We go through life trying to learn that, and there's a lot of horror stories that come with that because we create a lot of the pain. We create a lot of the pain that we
Other
talk
issues.
about.
Yeah.
But I talked a little bit about that a few days back. Well,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of when we're boys, a lot of people tell us what a man is, but we're not even talking to men. So we're getting a lot of information from our mothers, our aunts, or our brothers and sisters, or our kids in our same age group. We don't even talk to the men, and we will have like fathers and uncles and granddads around us. We don't even talk to them about what being a man is.
Mm-mm.
So a lot of the mistakes that some of us make is because we skip over the very people we need to talk to when they're around us.
Well, part of that is parenting. You know what I'm saying? Once you have a little boy, it should be fixed in your head that I need to teach you how to be a man. And I mean, it's there's at least two of us that are officers of the church. We recognize that, you know, from and by and large, and everything we try to do leads people to that consciousness that listen, there's a role you need to play, and submission to somebody is going to get you there. So the men of the church should be now leading the charge because it's clear that the government's not going to do it because they're messed up education. It's clear that these guys who have just got out of prison, some of them are doing all right. Some of them are doing all right, making those changes. But by and large, where did these guys, young boys, get the sagging from? They didn't get it from those ones that changed their mind. They got it from the ones that's still criminal in their mind, even though they did their time. So in reality, if we're really going to make these kinds of changes, then what's going to happen is this type of forum needs to happen, and somebody needs to codify it so that it can be solid, and that's what we pass around.
Sketch,
Yeah,
I'm sure you hold up. Sketch, go ahead and speak, fam. I know you pop back on, so I know you got something to say. Go for it. You there?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Speak your mind.
Yeah, sorry, I'm barely hearing y'all because it's kind of scratchy. That's what I'm trying to try to
Yeah, I
hear
get
from
it.
my computer screen when I'm trying to pause onto the phone. But yeah, I think I was kind of hearing what George was saying, stuff like that about learning to be a
Hmm.
man, and everything. From my perspective, from me growing up, I was raised by my uncle and aunt, but I was abused. I was come from abusive, from my uncle. He was like the drunken type of dude when what I'm saying, lead me off, do what I want to do, but I do something wrong, whoop my ass and shit like that, but overdid it. But he never taught me the structures of what
Hmm.
manhood and leadership was about. So you got different types of men that grew up in different types of situations. You got men that had fathers in their household, but the mother was the masculine leader of the household. Then you got the
Exactly.
absentee father. Then you got
That's a good
you know
point.
what I'm saying, the deadbeat father where he's just in and out, but not there as much. And then you got the abusive type father. It's not like it's not you see the actual type of real man father that's not just disciplining you, building you, but he's also building you up, the structures and everything to take more logic and stuff like that. And I had to learn that on my own from other people and stuff like that. I'll give you a perfect example, like with the police brutalities going on, like in New York recently. What happened? We see the video yesterday in New York with the police officer abusing his power with the distance and went up to a kid, went up to probably looked like a kid to me, and the way he put him down and stuff like that for real and everything. Everybody getting hostile, but where I'm looking at it is like, okay, first of all, I'm looking at it from the logic point of view. First of all, why is nobody not teaching this kid that you don't go up to an officer like that, despite if he could be hostile or not. If he tells you to move back, just move back and be caught from the back from the far distance and stuff like that. But don't come up and flex on an officer and not be prepared to be knocked the hell down, and then everybody want to start screaming, "Oh, police brutality, all that stuff." I'm like, yo, this is why we need more fathers in the household to raise these boys to how to deal with police in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? And I always say that all the time. I get real passionate about that. One of the big reasons why I don't want to see that movie Queen and Slim, because in real life, if I was in a situation with a woman, the first thing I'll do is tell my woman, "All right, babe, just sit back in the background and shut the fuck up. Let me deal with this. Let me deal with the officer and everything. I don't want you to get hostile because I know for a fact that this is like in the woman's nature that they want to see
Hmm.
men get hostile in situations, and most of the time, when it comes to police brutality for us black men, it don't wind up good that way and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? For real. And it's
No,
like, yo, we have to start training, thinking very logic, for our young men, our young youth and everything. I know I know it's not gonna work all the time. I know that, but it's a numbers game. At least we can have it more percentage in our favor to take more control of the situation than it is what it is. Like, that's just my perspective.
hey,
cool.
and,
Hold up.
and let,
Mute up
go ahead.
again, Sketch, because we're gonna hear your background. But go ahead, George, because I was gonna say some of
Yeah,
that, but you got it.
and when he said like not having a father in the house, when you see a lot of these women jump off at the mouth and everything, that's the aspect of not having a father too, because she don't understand what her role is, because the father is the first man in her life to teach and guide her step as she grows. And you see a lot of these women just mouthy and teeny popping and finger popping, and you would be like, why don't they didn't have a father or a strong male in their life that can check her and teach her. Like, not having a father, they did. So, like I said, for me, I had a father that raised me, right? But my dad was a provider. He was ex-military, but he didn't know how to. He wasn't a nurturing father. He was.
Mm-hmm.
I said so. You better do it. You better do it fast. Like,
Yep.
that's the type of father I had. But my husband was more to nurture, but he died. So I didn't learn manhood until a man, Zachary Ricketts, like I said, in prison, taught me what a man was. He told
Mm-hmm.
me he told me I was a bum, and I said, "What?" And I was more emotional than logical, and he
Right.
told me what it was to think logical. And he told me, and I hated my dad, right? But he told me my dad was a good man, and he was the one that showed me that my dad showed me his love by his work ethic and how he took care of us and went to work every day. He wasn't the emotional type that put his arm around me and said, "Son, I love you." But that man, Zachary Ricketts, taught me to think as a man. He taught me how to look at my surroundings, observe things, and think logically to manifest the realities I wanted. As men, a lot of us ain't taught that, and even and some of us get a lot of good education because we use that as a crutch, like some of us use sports to find something that we like, and we achieve things. But that still don't mean that we understand what manhood, the whole aspect 360 of what manhood is, because we can
Right.
have a bunch of accolades and accomplishments, but not good
Mm-hmm.
relationships, not good relationships with our children, not good
Right.
relationships. Like we could be social misfits at times too, with all the accolades that we got. So for me, manhood is more is many different aspects of what manhood is. And I'm telling you, I learned that in prison. And when I came out of prison that last time, I never went back. But it took a man, Zachary Ricketts, that was doing a 40-year bid to teach me what a man was and sent me back out here. And when
Mm-hmm.
I came back out here ready to be a man and not a boy.
Right.
You got it, Bishop, because I was about to say something, but go for it. You got it?
Yeah. Well,
Go.
I can hear all of this, and I think that at some point, I will say this and be diplomatic. Sometimes a lot of us are doing good, and we'll waste time trying to fix something that's really not ours to fix. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Bishop just said that he had an experience where somebody took him to the side and raised him and helped him to get those pieces he was missing. Heard another brother said that he learned that that you have to learn how to think a different way in order to get to the point that you can act like what you want to act like. One thing I've noticed as at the age I am now is that I've heard a lot of things about young men that just wasn't right or fair. You know, the things that they do in society are things that they picked up, not necessarily that they were taught. And we get in church sometimes on Sunday and bash the world, bash these young dudes, bash them and stuff, instead of just saying, look, let me go talk to one of them and see what's going on with them. And so I've had the experience that every time, and it's been like 100%, every time I talk to one of these young guys, I see sagging and doing all this other kind of stuff, they're receptive to what I want to hear. But at the beginning of the conversation, they're kind of skeptical because, like, here's this old hat trying to tell me what's going on. And as I talk to them, well, what I'm saying is trustworthy. So what I'm saying is to the older people here, we can reach out wherever we are and start talking to some of these young boys and transmit those positive things. Even though they may go home to a mama that there's no dad in the house, even though they may go home to a house where there's a man, but the mother is wearing the boots. And we may go home and they may go home and nobody. They just grab their electronics and there's no communication, no nothing. But still, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think that now that we know something, I think we could go about at least trying to communicate with some kind of vehemency the importance of standing up and being a man. Because like I was listening to, and then I'm gonna be quiet. I was listening to one of the broadcasts you had, Lar, Mannerisms, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so we can get with that, but in actuality, they took us out of Mannerisms because everything was patriarchal. So once we start listening to the woman and listening to psychology telling us, oh, well, you need to get in touch with your feelings, I nipped that in the bud right away. So that I am in touch with my anger is an emotion.
Right.
Fear is an emotion. Okay. Depression is an emotion. So don't tell me to get in contact with my emotions because you want to see me buying flowers and being tender. You be something to me, I'll buy you some flowers. And so it's a matter of in a mannerism state, doing what you need to do to maintain who you are so that they recognize who you are.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna come back to that. When you were talking about sagging, I made a video about this like years and years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever asked young black men, do you know your waist and length?
There you go.
Because, you know, I was 20 something before I found out mine. See, we assume that, you know, we got mothers and women have all these size, they do the size thing. They don't do that with the boys. The boys is, does it fit? If it does fit, can I make it fit? If it's comfortable, I'll do it this way. See, some of the sagging has to do with the style, and some of the sagging has to do with either the clothes is too big or they're too small.
All right.
You know, so this is what happens because you don't talk, because you would be surprised if you say, hey, you know what size you wear? Kid be like, nah. You know what size? Because we don't look at the jeans and say, okay, this is my waist, because most young black men find out their size prime, when it's prime or wedding. That's how you find out the kind of pants you need and the kind of in your chest and your waist. That's how you find out if you get fitted for a tux at some point. And that goes a long way, you know. So here's the crazy part. I ain't tripping on that, Jack. You know, but that, you know, but this is the, well, I'm a Jack the Leica is not a brother, but he here, so he a brother. He's like, we transfixed on pointless hatred that cast a, well, the one of the issues with that is it's not our hatred. That's why I mean these brothers are breaking the cycle, because a lot of the hatred that comes towards us, it don't make sense to us.
That's right. Absolutely.
It's like you know, it's an equivalent of, you know, you feeding a dog cat food and you don't understand why the dog don't want it. You know, it's like, what are you talking? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
L.A.R, can I throw this in there? You speak to this.
Yeah.
What about with everything that you just said, right? What about the level of depression that black men deal with, and not just the Pookie and Ray Ray, even the educated black men that we conceal and hide, but it comes out sometimes, like in these black spaces where you got the manosphere. Some of the our arguments is from depression. You see brothers in the street that kill each other, and the way that they take their anger out on each other. But what about depression? Not understanding life, or why we're viewed a certain way, or why even some of our women view us a certain way. What's your view on that?
Well, a lot of times I think ironically depression is like the last thing that comes, because I think in the beginning it's confusion,
right,
because you're trying to figure out why people are talking to you a certain way or treating you a certain way. You're not getting it, because I know when I was a young man, I'm looking like I was at predominantly black high schools, all black grade school. And when I say predominantly black, it was like 85% black, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the grade schools were predominantly black. Like if you got a white person or Hispanic person, it might be one or two in your class type stuff. And you would see how the teachers would treat them differently.
Right.
And they were like, okay, if they smart, they super smart. If you smart, you dangerous smart. You know what I'm saying? And so I think the first part is confusion. Hold on for a second. Emma, thanks, fam. I'm gonna put this. Yeah, just so I'm gonna get to that later. But the thing about it is it starts with confusion, and then you get frustrated because people are treating you how they made you up to be in their mind, and now you get mad about it. And you're young, so you don't filter through those emotions like that. And then And on top of it, people forget about this. Aggression and young men go together.
Yes, they do.
So now you confusing these kids, and and now they frustrated. But then on the top of that, you telling them to be a man, you got to be ultra aggressive. So
Mm-hmm.
now you in that space where, okay, I got to be a head buster, whether it's sports or just fighting type stuff, and I'm gonna get respect like that. So now you're getting patted on the back for being aggressive in this way, but then when you do that same thing in a different setting, now you're getting thrown under the bus for it. So now you get depressed because you're like, man, I don't know which way to go. And the only people you're going to take it out on, because I said this earlier, probably before you've been here a long time, George, but I said it earlier that a lot of times black men, we can take out our aggression on other black men because other black men don't back down.
Right.
Every other group of people back down. Every other group will pick a fight with us and then back down. Now, I'm not saying it's a holistic thing, because so brothers, don't just run up on people of other races like, I'm black, I'm gonna kick your ass, because you will get your lunch handed to you playing with the wrong one. Because I know some white dudes, some Hispanic dudes, some Asian dudes. You play with them if you want to.
Okay.
They're gonna drop you quick.
Mm-hmm.
But for the majority of us, it's like, brothers ain't gonna pick a fight with somebody and then be like, oh, he responded back. I'm gonna call the police, or I'm a victim. That's not how we respond. But other people, it depresses us because it's like, why the hell y'all picking on me so much? But then when I'm about to put my foot in your ass, you running.
Yeah.
And then to me, that's where the depression sets in, because now you don't know what to do. I can't talk to you because I'm not talking to you about me and you. I'm talking to you about me and your imagination.
L.A.R, put this part in there then.
Yeah.
And just real quick, I want to get your perspective, right? Somebody said,
Hold up, George, because the siren's too loud. They kicking you out of some temptations. I just brought them for you. Call them cops.
Just think about this, right? Everything you said. Now let's correlate that to our relationships with our women, just our women in our communities, from our moms to our women that we sleep with, right? Now I want to draw the scenario because I know you'll go in on this, right? When they had when over the weekend, when everybody was going in a frenzy about the mom who brought the strippers, right, for the son, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she, 14-year-olds, he brought his 14-year-old friends. You had these grown ass women that went over there and shook their ass off for these little boys, right? And I asked the question. I said, if a black man would have did that for his 14-year-old daughter and her 14-year-old girlfriends and brought some big, strong, masculine strippers over there, we already know what would have happened. So
Jail
what I'm
time.
saying, yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, as brothers, because we know we got a lot of messed up stuff with us too, but as brothers, the way we're viewed and the way we're treated, I think a lot of brothers, whether it's Pookie and Ray Ray or educated brothers, like a lot of brothers see it, but they don't articulate their emotions and feelings, and it comes out in rage.
Okay, I got you. I'm gonna take it somewhere, and y'all brothers go there. Yeah. We say brothers are messed up, and I understand that, because we do have some messed up brothers, but we as black men have a context of it. The vast majority of the brothers are really not as messed up as everybody else in society. Exactly. So what happens is, when we talking about messed up, we talking about messed up because we've dealt with more adversity than everybody else in society. So we don't see their messed up as really messed up. But the reason I'm saying it that way is because when people see us not messed up, they have an issue. So when you see a brother who's really got it, who's really not as messed up as you thought he was in your mind, now you start poking and digging to find a negative reaction out of that brother, to find some negativity in that brother. You got to find a way to put him back in that box of being messed up. And the thing about the strippers is, and I'm going to use that as an example in this way. A lot of people don't realize, so from like even that strip club type culture or treating women a certain way, a lot of women taught men how to treat women like that. So those strippers, a lot of brothers used to go to strip clubs, and girls used to go to strip clubs, and lesbians used to would go to the strip clubs, and they would really go ham on the strippers. And the guys wouldn't be just as over the top as the women would. So over time, it progressed. And the difference with that is when you like, if they switched it around, that father would go to jail. That father would lose custody. That father would be he's a pedophile. He has pedophile thoughts by throwing a party like that for a little girl. But the difference is those mother, it's not the mother that threw the strip party. It ain't the mother that I'm concerned about. And people in our community sometimes don't understand that. I'm concerned about all the mothers who let their kids go to this party. Because some of them might have knew it was a strip party, some of them might not. But those are the mothers that I'm concerned about. Because if you really don't pay attention to it, these are the stuff you co-signing. Because now you got a group of, now it looks like a group of 10, 15, 20 mothers are cool with, oh yeah, that old stereotype of old black men, I'm going to get my son a hooker. I'm going to turn him into a man. I'm going to get him a stripper. That's an old 50, 60 stereotype that people don't even use no more. But they put it on the boys. Now, if these same boys mess around, and I hate to say it this way, but I got to say it this way. When you ladies are upset at R. Kelly, that stripper party says this is how you make R. Kelly.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So y'all got it. My bad.
Hypocrisy. Straight hypocrisy. Just like the whole idea of understanding that something you can make somebody be aggressive or make something be aggressive, and then do something in front of them. Just like you said, you do something to me, and then when I bristle back, all of a sudden I'm, you the victim. See, my thing is this way. When I walk in front of you, if my presence don't say to you that, oh, I bet not, I should spend not mess with him, I'm gonna go home and make sure my stuff is tight. Okay, because the best protection is prevention. You know what I'm saying? And you ought to know, and I'm sure you guys know, when you walk into the room, if there's a bunch of women around, they stop and they look at you and size you up. And then they go back to talking their little possibles. If you go and speak to one of them, they don't come off all crazy and stuff because your presence already told them that's not the one to mess with. You know what I mean? And once we as brothers establish that globally, a whole lot of stuff will change.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. I got to be real with the brothers for a minute, man, because I hear a lot of brothers. A lot of times, the brothers say, I asked a question on my channel when I did a stream on this, and I said, if you found out that your 15 or 14-year-old son was having sex with the teacher, would you be upset? A lot of brothers was like, hell no, I'll blackmail the teacher to give me some. Like, I was hearing all this stuff.
Yeah, trifling. Because my personal opinion, I'll beat the brakes off of that teacher.
Yeah,
I'll be all on the news. I'll
yes.
be all on the, oh my God, he abused that woman. That
Yes.
teacher looked like Barkley after that Tony fight. And
Yeah.
hey, I will lump that chick up.
And I'm gonna tell you why you got to do it. See. Let me tell the brothers something that may be watching. Your job as a father, as a leader, is not to protect your son and daughter physically, but also their minds. See, my problem that I have is these strippers knew that these boys, these young men were boys. These strippers knew it, but you went and put your butt and coochie and everything on these boys, busting it wide open. And what the mom may not realize, a lot of us, see me being a young boy grown into a man. Once that party was over, it wasn't over in his mind. Now
That's
you have
right.
to porn her, slut babe, spank babe. Because now he wants that euphoria. He wants that feeling. He wants that thing in his mind that you done now downloaded. So as a father, the reason why I go on my son's phone, the reason why I monitor what he watches, because I have to monitor what's being downloaded into his mind. I have to protect his mind, not just his body. And a lot of us don't realize that why would a 25-year-old or 30-year-old want to sleep with a 14-year-old? Like, what's in her mind to want to touch my 14-year-old boy whose body is still pure? I don't know if you got AIDS, herpes, any damn thing. Like, why would you want to touch my boy? My boy's mind is not yet ready for that type of exercise that his testosterone levels, he's young as hell.
Hold up, George, because you breaking up because the wind blowing. But I'm gonna take it somewhere. So when it stop blowing, you gonna just go ahead with it. See, black boys aren't molested unless it's
Mm.
by a man.
Yep, absolutely.
See, black girls could say they were touched and molested by men and women, but black boys aren't molested by women. And this when he said, people got AIDS and herpes. Like how many? A lot of these quote unquote black men that women consider are dogs. Ask them their experiences with sex. A lot of brothers don't even talk about the older women, the grown women when when they were teenage boys. They don't talk about that.
Mm-mm.
And the reason I got to bring it up because why when I said the breaking the cycle part, a lot of people don't take into consideration those mothers and those strippers. They don't see anything wrong with having sex with teenage boys.
No, they don't, because it's all money.
It ain't just that it's all money. It's just because if y'all remember the last 5 years, there was a certain point where a lot of teachers kept getting caught sleeping with students,
Mm-hmm.
and the vast majority is white women. The vast majority of the people they were sleeping with was black boys. That's why you hardly ever saw the faces.
Amazing.
Hey, let me kill this one, man. I'm gonna tell you something. See, a lot of times when I think about Pookie and Riri having multiple children, I give you a real short story. I grew up in the late. I'm in my 40s, so I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. Uh, I got a African American father and a Cuban and Panamanian mom. So I grew up in the dope game. I mean, early on when it with and I've seen all different kinds of stuff at a young age when the mind wasn't really ready for that. And I remember being 14, 15 years old in a house where brothers was counting a lot of money and they brought some women over. Now, mind you, everybody's 10 years older than me. And I had never seen like my aunties and them, really doing fresh stuff in front of me because that was an era where kids were seen and not heard. So, and I seen these women doing all this kind of stuff. And I was just looking in the room, but then one of the big homies said, go get the little homie. And two women went and did some things to me at 15 years old that I wasn't ready for. I had never in my life felt anything like that. And what it did was it sent me on a trajectory of failure because every woman that I got with, and I know this now being older, but back then I didn't. I wanted that feeling from every woman I ever saw, and I wanted those women not realizing that those women was just floozies, just doing whatever for whoever. But I had never felt nothing like that. I didn't get a chance to experience things with a young, inexperienced girl, and me being experienced, we being experienced together. I had something happen to me by older women when I wasn't ready for it. And that sets the stage for me now, just looking at every woman as bottles that need to be corked. And that's how a lot of us have 5 and 6 baby moms before 25 because we're chasing the fantasy that was downloaded to our mind. That's why as a dad, boy, what is that? What you want? Give me this. Turn that music off. It's the reason why we do that. So with the big homies, though, that they were showing a young brother love, they really harmed me.
Right.
They harmed me, and that was molestation. But I didn't know. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the baddest women I've ever seen in my life. And when they did what I'm telling you, I got to be raw with it. The feeling that I felt, to this day, I can't even explain. I was, what the hell was that? I wanted that woman all the time. But I wasn't ready. I didn't understand that. No, this is what these type of women do, as opposed to these type of women. Used to testosterone levels were shooting it all, was shooting with a big low, and I wanted some. You know what I mean? So when you see a lot of these brothers out here running wild with a bunch of women and boys and stuff, like who was they exposed to at his young age? Just remember back when we on the corner and you sitting on the stoop, 12 years old, you hear the big homie say, "Man, I told her ass up last night." So that you hear him, I got all kinds of women. Be careful with the conversations you have around your son, man. Don't expose them to every grown-up conversations that you do as men. Fine. But don't realize that.
That's the crazy thing about it that and I don't mean to and I'm not trying to take a crap on our sisters, right? I'm really not. But when the women in our community say we go through just as much as, if not more, because we're women, they don't really understand that we don't even say the stuff that we go through.
Okay, it's unreported.
They, yeah, they're only understanding what we talk about, not the things we don't talk about. Like, and this is the point where I mean by brothers are doing so much that people don't pay attention to. I equate black men, like, because we black men are used for the sports analogy. I equate black men to America's all-star team of athletes.
Mhm.
Everybody has a Hall of Fame,
Right.
and everybody has, all-stars and all that. What happens to a Hall of Fame athlete, or an all-star, an all-pro athlete? They're never good enough when they're playing.
Mm-mm.
Unless they having a game of all games, it's not really good enough. Like, so when another person, what's up, Gabe and Frank? When another person shows up and they have a good game of life, oh my God, they're great. But if you do it, you was good, but you wasn't good as you was last week. So now
Hmm.
next week you got to be better than you was last week and the week prior to that. So it's under this constant pressure. So you're not really appreciated until it's all over. Until people see you and be like, you know what? That brother did a lot. That brother, he went through a lot of adversity. That brother outworked and outlived and outplayed. A lot of brothers are like John Henry in real life. But we're not talking about what it takes, because everybody benefits off of it. And that even goes with sexually. And this might sound crazy, and the women might not understand this. As a black man, even with sex, you get tired of the mandingo stereotype, because you know what? Now you got to be a mandingo every time you have sex.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know why, LAR? You know why? Because in a system of capitalism, and this correlates with what you're just saying, right? In a system of capitalism, because we in our communities for generations, we haven't passed down generational wealth through economics, we've been conditioned to compete against each other. And we do
Hold up.
it in every aspect of life, everything. It's a
I'm, I'm,
competition.
I'm glad you said it, because I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in that argument. We've been raised to compete and pass down generational wealth. But here's the kicker. We haven't been taught to respect the generational wealth we got from men.
Thank you. Exactly. Because we competing against each other.
No, no, no.
That's what I say.
I'm not talking about
It's just the
I'm
general
talking
picture.
about, like, George, taking into consideration, you create wealth for your family,
Yeah.
and just using the black community, not your family per se. But when you
No, I
die,
know how much.
yeah. But when you die, your family doesn't really respect the wealth you gave it, because it came from you. Now, if you said your wife gave the family this generational wealth, I can't let mama down. I can't just blow mama money. I
Yeah,
can't.
but that's what I'm laying into. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Because see, the thing is, once see, we gotta look at how that happened. Like, we analyze how that happened. We know the history. I heard you breaking down the history the other day. So
yeah.
we know what the government and all kinds of things did to us, and how they reversed the roles. So we did it. Now, once as men, as we realize this, we know sexually, we compete economically, we and psychologically. So now the thing is, I had the Extreme Friday on becoming a superhero in your children's life as a black man. As fathers, active fathers in your children's life now, once you become aware of what's going on, it's your job. It's Superman, Santa Claus, all of that kind of stuff outside of the children's life, because now you got to be the superhero. You got to be Superman and Shazam and Batman.
Right.
And
Right.
we do better jobs of that to raise up a new generation of children that understand who daddy is. Like for my son, my 12-year-old son, I see my oldest son, I failed at that because I had him very young. But this 12-year-old son, I'm Santa Claus, I'm the Easter Bunny, I'm this. And I make sure my wife emphasizes who I am to him. I make sure of that. I demand that. So and as men, we got to start the men to actify, not the ones that's still trying to figure it out. If you are, you ain't got to be a husband. You can be an active father to the child's life. You have to emphasize that with the mom and the child of who you are. And in our communities, a lot of times, man, I was like, no, we gotta do that too, and we gotta emphasize that more.
We do need to emphasize that more. I think we don't. We need to, and it's gonna sound cold that I say this because this is part of the issue. Hold on, somebody, that's probably you, Skip. Hold it down for 1 second. Um, we as black men, we're gonna have to get over telling people how much we've done for everybody. Because people want to get mad at us when we look, I did this, I did that, I did this. Like everybody else can tell us what they did for us, even if they really did or didn't do it. But now it's offensive when we say, listen, this is my resume. These are my accomplishments. You wouldn't be at this point in life if it was for me doing this point to help you get to this point in life. And a lot of times people take that as disrespect. But the problem is it's disrespectful to take our work and our efforts and just act like
Hey,
Trivialize it.
hey,
yeah.
look, let me throw this in 30 seconds. I got an argument with my wife one day, right? Years back. And I was like, I was telling her, what I bring to this relationship, right? And she was like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. And I looked at her, watched the
Mm-hmm.
video, I looked at her right in her eyes. And I said, well, if you can say out your mouth right here and tell me that and agree that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, then what are you supposed to be doing for me? She got quiet. She didn't know what else to say because she wasn't expecting my thunder. I said, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, then why are we having this argument? That's what she did after all. For the first time in the history of woman, a woman shut up and she said,
That like a lot of people. Let me. I'm gonna take it to somebody I like, Deion Sanders. If y'all get on Instagram, Deion Sanders had this little post every day about truth, truth, truth. You know what I'm saying? And you see him there with his sons. A lot of y'all don't remember that Deion Sanders had when he got divorced, he wasn't allowed to be around his kids for a long period of time. And when he would come around, they would disrespect him. And he talked about those stories over a decade ago. But now those kids are in his house and all of them are doing exceptionally well.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is the reason why that stuff like that has to come out is because when you look at these kids around these men in general, they become better people quickly around their fathers.
Yes,
But
they
we don't
do.
want to talk about that. When we look
Absolutely.
at these, when we look at these women who, when they get older, and people talk about hitting the wall and all that, a lot of times, even the women that hit the wall have a realization, not just that about sexual market value, they have a realization about where they would be in life if they would have actually been good to the men that were good to them.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, oh man, I want a guy like him.
Mm-hmm.
And why us black men and the
Well,
people are breaking, quote unquote, what I said, brothers are breaking the cycle, because when you hear people's complaints about black men, when we talk about black men, it's like he's this, he's that, and it's the negative things come up. Because what's already baked into the cake is you've met plenty of brothers who are the antithesis of all these negatives. You just didn't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for the men and the women.
mm-hmm.
Sure.
So
Well, hello,
yeah,
hello.
go
Sorry.
ahead. You got a sketch, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I definitely like to add on to that. We're realizing not just our sexual market value, but our market value in general. Everything. I remember another YouTuber said himself, men are the gatekeepers to commitment. Women are the gatekeepers to sex and shit like that. Women value more commitment than sex all the time and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So no, seeing the fact that these females now, like black women, are going through this hit the wall stage and everything because they can't get the commitment from the guys that they wanted and the guys that they actually treat them, that they actually should have gotten with. They don't want them anymore because they market value has gone low to that level. We as men, I'll be rising that market value in so many ways that, you know what, is number one, we being more financially successful in one way. We being more structured better in another way. Two, we realize that our options with women from not just standard, you know what I'm saying? No matter how we get it though, but from non-black women, non-U.S. black women, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and different, all outrages and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's like that's another cycle that we're breaking down. And realizing that, you know what, some men are thinking even more smart with the partners they getting with. George was touching upon it himself. We speak the fact, like he said, about when he got with his wife and stuff like that. In order for him to find the right woman, he has to be the right man. But he's not gonna make any woman his wife. This woman has to follow his standards also too. What he's trying to make the relationship work. And some
Exactly.
men, you know what I'm saying, they're realizing that to certain levels and stuff like that. Yeah, like, you know, if I was listening to another podcast the other day about matter of fact, yeah, I will mention Kevin Samuels mentioned this. Why most black men are not getting married, and knowing the fact that there are different levels of black men that will get remarried and shit like that. Because as much he makes, like say for example, like Michael Jordan and stuff like that, he was married. He was married twice. He got divorced from his first wife, but you didn't hear a whole controversy about it. Because you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't just get with any woman. He got with her. Things didn't work out in the long one. He paid his dues and stuff like that. To some other brothers, they may seem like they should get nothing, this, that, another, this, that, another. And he's not seeing it that way. Jordan's seeing it as, you know what? Okay, we didn't work out. Here's your due, pay due, go off about our way. I still got a money making value mindset of my value. He made twice as more money after he divorced her and made three times more after he got remarried and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Because he sees the value of different other things. Value of himself and the value of being married to get him to different levels and stuff like that. Some black men don't see it that way, but some do. And everything. That's the whole package of our market value and stuff like that for real. Like, you know, why some men are able to move on and, you know, more better than others and stuff.
Like, and I'm gonna say this, and Bishop, you got it, because I matter of fact, go ahead,
Uh,
Bishop.
uh,
Not George, but Bishop
yeah,
Tim.
go, L.A.R, throw the link back in the chat so I can get it on my computer.
Okay, you got it, Bishop Tim. You got it.
No, I didn't say anything.
No, I was saying go ahead because I was about to say something, but you hadn't talked in a while, so go. You got it.
That's funny because at some point we got to learn how to be listeners too, and that's what I was
Yeah,
doing. You
yeah, I
know,
know, but
you know every
yeah,
every once in a while, you come across a situation when some things force you to change. And if you that we talked about that in another podcast about what were you willing to be what are you willing to give up to be a success. One trend I think that black men have is that we tend to wait till the trouble comes. We tend to wait till trouble is upon us, then we start making these changes instead of just saying, you know what, this is I've seen that happen before, let me prepare for that. This has happened before, let me get ready for that. Still, we'll try to train our children that way, but we won't approach life that way. See, like I said, I make reference to me being a martial artist and been one for a long time. You know what I mean? A lot of the preparation that we do as martial artists is not for the fight, it's for the defense. Because we try to find every scenario we can find where we know the enemy's coming. Well, we already know the white man's a problem, so what are we going to do about that? We already know that employment's going to be a problem, so what are we going to do about that? See, now here's the trend. We know our women are a problem. So what are we going to do about that? See, then that question is what you willing to give up, because that's basically what it's going to boil down to. You want to stop acting like white folks, stop hanging around white folks, stop trying to be like them and be your own man. That'll fix that problem. Then, if you know good and well you're not marketable, you know it's hard to find a job, find something that you can do that'll make money and do that. You know what I mean? And stop looking for the big dollar and grow it. You know what I mean? But I think that's part of the problem too. Not having a man in the house teaching about growth, because we were talking about that the other day. When you need an older man to say, sit down for a minute. Let me show you something. And the fact that there was a lot of times there's no man there, you didn't have that. Because I know I wished I had it for a long time. Because my father lived with me, but he wasn't a raiser. He wasn't the kind of guy that would say, "Yeah, come on, let me show you something in the wood shop. Let me show you something on the lawnmower. Let me show you something here. Let me show you something there." So now, as you talk about, breaking those cycles, the one cycle, and I'm thinking about that right away is what do we do if we haven't done much to try to improve ourselves as individuals? What does it mean to be me? What does it mean to do this, that, and the other? What methods am I going to use as an individual to accomplish these problems? Instead, we're waiting for psychology to do it. We get messed up. We got to go to a counselor instead of just sitting down and spending some alone time. And for me, the Bible helps. So whatever helps, whatever helps others, that's what helps others. But the Bible helps me. You know what I mean? And I'm still trying to subdue my passions. You know what I'm saying? I just had to make a declaration the other day about anger. You know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of stuff, and the older you get, the less tolerant you are. So I'm like,
Right.
okay. So I'm like, that makes me angry. You know what I'm saying? Looking at sometimes it's the young men, how they're acting, and it's sometimes how interact with coworkers and stuff like that. And I just had to make a declaration. I'm gonna get rid of that anger thing. I'm gonna get rid of it because I know
Speaking.
that's what's gonna help me get better.
Hey, can I say this real
Go
quick?
ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, look at this, L.A.R. Most black men where we come from want to be in relationships with women. Most. The problem that we have is, and I know men, man, brothers, it's macho. If you walk in a room with 10 men and ask them something about vulnerability, none of them will raise their hand because we don't want to be seen weak amongst brothers because of
Mm-hmm.
the stigma that comes with that. I get it. I see it all the time. But if it'll take one brother to break the ice and then the other brothers to start saying, well, I got that problem too. That's me. But he'll wait for you to do
Right.
it. That's black men. That's why a lot of black men don't get helped. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. A lot of brothers can't get in successful relationships until they get over their mommy issues. I hear a lot of times I see and talk about mama, but I'm gonna tell you, a lot of brothers that got complaints about black women got mommy issues
Yeah.
and a lot of daddy issues. I didn't understand certain things about myself until I got about my teachings. Once I built myself up and I was taught what manhood was.
Hold on. Mute
When
up a
it
little
was,
bit, Sketch, because we can hear you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
yeah, when it was time to put it to test, oh man, it was, and I'm gonna tell you something, L.A.R. The very things that I hated about my daddy, I actually became him, and I understood that he did everything he was doing. Him getting up, going to work every day in 2-degree weather. Him trying to create a no nonsense standard for me. But he wasn't the one that put his arm around me and said, "Son, let's go throw a football." No, he just told my dad used to tell me, he had a saying, "Boy, you may not understand now, but when you get my age, you'll understand everything that I'm doing." I
Mm-hmm.
hated when he used to say that as a kid.
That's good.
But once I got married, and I had that same no nonsense approach that, listen, I got to make things happen. This is my role. This is what I do. I've
Mm-hmm.
learned more about myself in marriage, and I'm telling you, when I had the argument with my wife one day, because she had to learn how to be a wife. She
Yeah.
said, well, that's what you're supposed to do. And I looked at her, I said, well, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, then why are you giving me so much trouble? And she looked at me because I don't think that she ever understood. In society, they said that this is what men's supposed to do, but they never told the woman, if you got a man that's doing what he's supposed to do, then you got obligations to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And she was never told that, but we went through all the pitfalls, the heartbreaks, the ups and downs, and all of those different things to get to where we are. And most people, men and women, don't want to do the sacrifice that comes with maintaining and sustaining a relationship and a marriage. It's work that comes with that. And a lot of us still haven't gotten over the trauma of moms and not having dads and everything else. So we blame it on everything else instead of just taking self-inventory of self and bettering self so that way you can have a better relationship.
Ironically, a lot of brothers, we don't talk about this. I haven't seen it talked about it as often as I would like, and maybe I should talk about it more. Um, a lot of us don't want to admit that fathers and black men in particular, black fathers in particular, not know where you at as far as you ain't ready to do this. You ain't ready to do that. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
responsible enough to do that. And a lot of times we in our community keep saying that the men are beneath everybody. You know, not just the women, but the men are beneath the children also. So when the men know exactly what's gonna happen in this world better than anybody else,
Right.
and when the men are telling people you ain't ready, because like when you were talking about it, Bishop Tim, like the fixing lawnmowers, a lot of the men in our family and our fathers be like, no, you can't even cut the grass right now because either you ain't big enough, you ain't strong enough, I ain't gonna help you fix it because you ain't bright enough, you gonna try to cut it on while you working under it, and I'm not finna let that happen.
Uh-huh.
The same thing that happens with our daughters.
Yep.
Girl, you can't go here, you can't do that because you ain't responsible enough to handle these things that's gonna happen out there. And people get so upset at black men for doing that to people. And it's like, who do you think you are? And it's like, okay, how what our community in general does not want to say, especially to black men, you're
Uh-huh.
right. You were
See?
right.
See?
That kills everybody in the community because and with George, when you was talking about like the things seeing in your father, a lot of us, we're black men have told us how these things are going to end in the beginning so many times that by the
Yes.
times it happen, we don't even go back to them and say you were right.
Right.
We just
Uh-huh.
move on to the next thing, and then we wind up being those men that tell, look, do this, don't do that. Who you is? Do this, don't do that. Who you think you is? I'm this person. I'm telling you, this is not going to work. You're going to have to do it this way. Well, maybe it's different from me. Maybe I'm special. You're going to get a special type of ass whipping if you do it that way.
And it's all that's the kind.
No, and
Facts.
that's true. That's true, L.A.R. But you know what? With me, I'm just like my father. But what I do with my youngest son is I just give my son the nurturing that my dad wasn't able to give me. But I give him all that other hardcore stuff that my dad gave me too. I give him everything now. My father is in the 70s, so he came in a different time. He ain't had time for all that. You know what I mean? My dad was trying to teach me the world at a young age. Like, listen, nobody care about a black man, man. Like, nobody's gonna give a damn about you, man. So we ain't got time to be whining. My dad had another saying, you always pissing out your damn eyes. He ain't had time for all that. It is just it was what it was. And once I got older, I started to really understand and see the world for what it was. And he was trying to protect me from a lot of things. He wasn't always politically correct. My dad doesn't articulate his words in the best manner in which some of us may. But that didn't mean he didn't love me. He loved me the best way he knew how to, and protected me the best way he knew how to. So yeah, go ahead.
Let me interject on that. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
For all of you people who are 40 and under, because I'm in my 40s or 40s and under, when it came to black people, 70s, 60s, 50s, like your parents and your grandparents, we got to look at the time frame.
Yes.
Especially these men didn't have time for various different amount of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just pay bills like you pay bills now. That took a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just y'all forget it wasn't easy going to the grocery store. It ain't as easy as it is now. That was a longer trip. People forget that cutting the grass ain't what it used to be. You got automated shit now. These dudes were doing things by hand.
That's right.
They were less machines back then to do stuff for people. So when you see, because when I hear people say stuff like, "Oh, I worked all day and I'm tired," I know for a fact I am not as tired. And there is no job in America that's from 2000 up. If you do construction, you ain't as tired as dudes doing constructions in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Exactly.
I believe it.
You're not.
That's why Pop whooped ass when he came home for work.
Right.
He found out you got in trouble.
So yeah, it's completely different. Your whole, even if you're a police officer, it ain't the same amount of leg work. Them dudes had to be on the beat, walking all day and try to hit.
Yep.
Like people forget that when it comes to our families, it's a whole lot of stuff in that in life in general that was different. And even when the sisters talk about, oh, my grandmother had to work, your grandmother didn't even have to do your grandmother could do errands your granddad couldn't do because he didn't have the fucking time. Your grandmama could sit in it, could go to to the water bill and electric company and sit an hour for 30 minutes to pay the bill. Your granddaddy didn't even have the time to do that. And you know, and if he did, you got to remember he had to figure out a way to do that and still get to work or do it on a lunch break.
Okay.
You know
You
what's
know,
funny, L.A.R.?
yeah.
And see what's your opinion on this, right? Because I'm telling you, me and my dad used to. But I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna tell you why me and my dad used to battle, right? Because there's some things in the manosphere when I heard certain conversations, it did help me because it helped me see certain things that maybe I wasn't able to articulate, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I was born in a marriage, and then I went to school at 6 and came home. My mom wasn't there, and I didn't see her for 30 years. So a lot of me and my dad's tension was I blamed him for my mom not being there because I grew up in the era where you did what you was told, and I never ever heard my dad bad talk my mom or even talk about it. Period. And when we did ask about it, he told us to shut up, mind your business, go sit down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now, mind you, he still was taking care of us, but I didn't. The mom was the mystery, right? But my father was much harder on me than he was my 4 sisters, right? And he used to always say to me, "You don't understand, but one day you're gonna have your own family. You're gonna be responsible as a man, and you're gonna pick a wife." I remember, like, he used to say this stuff to me. He used to say, "You're gonna be responsible for choosing the wife." He never talked bad about my mom, but he used to tell me, "Listen, my sisters used to get away with everything." I'm like, "Dad, can I get $5 to go to the movies? Go on some damn lawns. Here's half the money. Go make the other half." And I used to be like, "Why you just giving money to my sister? She a woman. Man, she gonna find a man to take care of. You gonna have to take care of a woman one day. Go out there and get the rest of the money. When you get it, I'll give you the other." That's how my dad used to treat me, and I used to be so mad. But I'm gonna tell you what it did for me. Even when I went in the street and was doing wrong, I did better than everybody else. I went to another level. When I got out and started doing my real estate and started getting my life together and choosing a wife, I did better than everybody else. So even though I hated him, I love him to death now because I understand now what he was doing for me. Man, he was vicious on me. He'd come wake me up 3 o'clock in the morning to wash the dishes if I didn't do it. He'll go wash my sister's dishes.
Well, I had a lot of interaction with people from Africa, and the Nigerians. If you, I ain't even got to say it. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere you turn, there's a Nigerian, and that's because there they had to pay for school. They had to pay for school from elementary school all the way to college, and if they were lucky to get scholarships to go to school. So when they come over here and they look at us, they look at us, they think we're lazy and whatnot because we get grants, we can get all this other stuff, and in a way I can see that and see that that's kind of what you were going through too, George, because if we're gonna be on top, then you got to train like you on top. I heard Lara was talking about, L.A.R. was talking about, how he ran when he was running track and playing football. You know what I'm saying? To whom much is given, much is required. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be on top, then that's what you're going to have to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't count the number of times I was homeless before I got a house. You know what I'm saying? I can't count the number of times that I was walking before I got a car. And even here lately, in the last 5 years, I've gotten 3 college degrees. And that's because I just made it up in my mind that I was going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, things get tough. And when we talk about culture, that's the way we should train our young men. I'm in the process of writing a book now. It says we are different. And I'm on the part where cultures raise their children different. If a black child gets a spanking at 2 years old, 7 years old, and 10 years old, the likelihood of them acting crazy when they become an adult is minimal. If a white child gets that same treatment, they act out. They shoot people, they kill people, and the statistics show it. So I'm real big on the whole, men, let's get together and just snatch them all out of the way and train them and do it the way we're supposed to do it. Because there's a lot of other cycles that got to be broken that he haven't mentioned. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that as we start talking about it, they're going to come up. Like, how do we view our automobiles? And we might think that's not a big deal, but would you get a 1985 Impala versus a 2012, 2013 Impala, knowing that the older car, you could just pop the hood open, fix whatever you need to fix, boom, it's done. And the newer car, you got to take that to the shop. You got to spend, $35 an hour. You got to pay for parts. You got to do all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just basically, us trying to listen a little more and pull away from the noise. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. It's just a lot of noise. Like
L.A.R.
Hold
yeah,
on,
you
hold on,
mentioned how
George.
people are talking about us and how they treat us and stuff. Some of that's noise. You know what I mean? I mean, if you know that what they're saying is true about you, then go home and fix it. You know what I'm saying? But if it ain't true about you, learn how to tune that stuff out.
Only reason I say hold on, sketch. You ain't spoken in a while. You got it.
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey. Yeah. I think just like what Bishop Tim Hart was saying, especially earlier. It, what are we willing to give up to make certain things come on the rise? So like how Thanos and the Avengers had to do in the last two movies. They had to make sacrifices to make their goals happen and everything. And unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, they gave up some people also too along the way, but they accomplished their goals. And that's what we have to do too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about killing people, like what I'm saying, or leaving people to die, but we can't help everybody and stuff. You know what I'm saying? All we can do is present the information, present the teachings, and whoever's willing to be open to learn to do it, we'll teach them more and stuff. And whoever's gonna complain, we just gonna have to leave them behind, and they got to find another way and realize that, you know what, y'all doing it y'all way, this way ain't working. Are you gonna see my way now? Yeah. So yeah, like just like like if you grew up in a family and you've been the only one that's been successful, you made it out, but now you're expected to take care of the whole family financially, and that might be a downfall right there
Yes,
because
sir.
you know what I'm saying? Because you're not supposed to be giving money out to everybody like that. They could do the same amount of work as you did. You know what I'm saying? And when we presented them the information and then the teachers and the structure, how we did it, that person did it, and everything, what do? They be like, I don't want to do that, man. Just give me some money with the handouts. And then we get so shamed to not helping our family out, and then all of a sudden we can't really rise the way we supposed to and stuff like that. So sometimes we have to give make some sacrifices, and then we give up some people and stuff along
Wow.
the way. You know,
Hey,
Serious thing right there, bro.
yeah,
You got it.
L.A.R. break this down for me. Either one of y'all, you or Bishop Hart, break this down for me, right? Because I had my dad in my life and he was the way he was with me. It's kind of like if L.A.R. you got a son, if you send your son outside to rake the leaves, and you look out the window, you see he just doing it completely wrong. And you done showed him 3 times. You go out there, show him again, and you teach him to observe a situation to the point now when he's doing it, when he comes back over the next weekend and he's doing it, he's worried about, he's looking through the window because he's thinking about, I'm going to do this right now. My dad is watching. And you taught him observation on how to achieve a goal.
I like that.
What happened? What for me? My dad raised 4 girls and a son, and he was like the go-to guy of the family. He was the oldest, right? And for you having a son, for a lot of guys with dads that may not get along, I kind of find myself now like being in that role. Like all my sisters, my grandkids, my nieces, like I'm the go-to guy. Like whether it's financially, mentally, everybody calls me for every damn thing, right? But it's funny when I look at it, right? When they talk about dads and how a lot of us didn't get along with our dads growing up or whatever. But everything that my dad taught me is everything that I am now. That's the crazy thing. And like I guess the gist of what I'm saying is dads when you got active fathers teach boys fear of failure.
I'm gonna try to say this and use it as an example, right? To answer you. So my son lives with his mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his mother bought a house maybe a year ago. First time she bought, so it's her first house. So she bought a house, and it's like an acre lot. It's like a regular like 3 bedroom house, but it's an acre lot because it's like out in country part of the city.
Right.
And my son was sitting there, And she was like, how am gonna cut all this grass? I don't know what I'm doing. And my son said, oh, I know how to cut the grass. And she was like, how you know how to cut the grass? And he was like, cause my dad taught me how to cut the grass. She didn't never know I taught him how to cut the grass. He was about 6 or 7 when I taught him that. So at this particular time, he's 12. So she has no idea about the things that I taught him because he's not in a situation with her for him to even come up with certain things. Because that's not the only thing I taught him, but it dawned on her, okay, I've been living in a house so long, I taught him how to do things in a house to take care of a house way before she even had one.
Mm-hmm.
So now my son is sitting there like, yeah, I had to go out and do this and that. And now he's like, man, now that he's cutting it himself, because when I taught him how to do it, the patterns and all that to make it easier. I taught him how to do it. I ain't just tell him go cut the grass every week because I was like, that's not your job. It's my house. I'm your dad. I'm gonna teach you how to do things.
Right.
You're not gonna be my little servant for everything. You know what I'm saying? So this is how I was able to teach him multiple things from in a window of time. So I say that to say this. And like even at the same period of time, I taught my son about money management because he would be like, I got my own money, Dad. I got my own money. I spend my own money. I'm like, okay, let's go to the mall. We go to the mall. I'm gonna spend my own money, and then he starts seeing that price ring up. But you're my father, though. I'm your son. And I'll be like, I thought you was grown now. I thought you got the money. He's like, yeah, Dad, but you should help me save my money.
My son to do the same thing.
So people don't realize this about us in general, the things that we do or go through that benefit everybody else. Because my son would say stuff like, I don't even look like you. And I'd be like, you want to see a picture of me at your age? And then he'd be like, what? Like I said, you don't want to see a picture because we look exactly the same. You just a few shades lighter. And kids don't realize I'm not like my dad. I'm not like this. What's up, Chaos? I got you. And y'all, and when we become men, because even with my dad, in certain things, boy, me and my dad, we would bump heads.
Right.
But now it's like, yeah, because if you're a black man and you've been around any black men in your life, especially if you're in the 80s and 90s, somebody left you with the bench press bar on your chest. Somebody left you in a situation, you got to hold that right there. And you be sitting there shaking and like, no. They taught
you better raise that bar up. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can't raise it up. That's when you lean it over and flip over like I can't get.
You let it slide off, you lean it over.
Yeah, brothers put you in them situations where I want to show you how I'm a man and you're not, but I want to show you how far off you are. I'm not doing this to humiliate you. I'm finna show you.
Yep.
You either got a short ways to go or a long ways to go.
Long way. That's right.
And a lot of us used to get mad at men for that. Oh, who he think he is? Because when it came to our fathers, when it came to our grandfathers, our uncles, our fathers, our brothers, it was always a competition. I want to be better than you. Mm-hmm. But we started respecting them as we got older because now we see what it took to be the men that they were. It ain't easy.
Yeah, you fear failure.
Yeah. Black men a lot of people don't play, especially competent brothers. Productive black men make manhood look very easy.
Yes, they do.
And it's mad because I ain't
gonna lie. Because they have a process.
Hey, L.A.R, do you think that dads, active fathers or active uncles or stepdads, whatever, they teach you to, I'm using the term fear, you could probably, y'all can use different words, but they teach you to fear failure, like I have to achieve because of the way you was taught. Like I said, like just the fear of my son looking through the window, knowing he better rate these leads right because I done showed him 4 or 5 times. It's time you get it right, damn it.
You know what? I can't say fear of failure because that wasn't my experience. My experience was black men taught you a fear of quitting. Because if you quit, you get fucked up.
Yes, sir.
If you could not do something right, but if you quit something, oh no. That was the cardinal sin right.
You gotta get them hands, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. They used to tell you, no, look, man, you because the old thing, and I'm sure everybody else says it, but we heard it all the time. If you started, you gonna finish. I don't care
That's
how
right.
you start something, you gonna finish.
Yes. Yes.
And I ain't gonna lie, a lot of us hated the men in our lives for that. Because we'll be like, I changed my mind. I don't care that you change your mind.
But look, hey, L.A.R, look at this, right? How crazy this is. And in this segment, it may sound funny, but during the late 80s, early 90s, when everybody was in the street, you know, slinging rock, I was more successful than everybody else because I was the only one that had a dad, though. Now, I had the dad and not the mom, and I went in the street, but I had that work ethic that my dad gave me. Right. And I would go, I would go when everybody else ain't doing. I'm doing more because and I always felt like I had something to prove. And what it was I was trying to prove something to him psychologically. And I would end up being, and once I got out of that, I went into other things and did better than everybody else. But I attribute that to him because I always felt like he was watching me. I better not fuck up because he gonna have something to say.
Like, but I got. I'm gonna say this. My bad. I got in an argument with my son maybe some months ago, and he was like, "I'm gonna be an engineer, and I'm gonna prove to you that I could do it because you don't think I can." And I just paused. I said, "When did I tell you couldn't be an engineer?" And he was like, I said, "Exactly. I ain't never tell you can't be an engineer. What I told you was, if you don't study, you won't pass through classes." So if you think you're gonna not study and be an engineer, well, you blame me for that. You know, but that I remember those days as a kid, the same thing. Like, I'm gonna be better than him. I'm gonna be better than him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I will say this: one of the most driving things for a young black man, and one of the most frustrating things is when you hear people talk about either your father, your grandfather, your father, your big brother, in a sense of, yeah, you good, boy, your daddy, boy, your brother though, boy, your uncle, oh, he was a beast. You all right. You be like, what? Who the heck? I'm 10 times better than him. No, you think you're 10 times better than him, boy. You know what I'm saying? I seen him run over a Chevy with flip-flops on. Boy, you can't do that. And it's like you get driven.
Oh my God, man.
Because I was saying, hold up, I got you, Chaos. One thing about, I was with my granddad. He's not my granddad. He's like a step grandfather. He showed me one thing at like about 16, 17, and he laughed at me before we even started. He was teaching me how to drive. He had a Chevy Nova, and he said, "Look, boy, this a real muscle car, boy. We old school. We don't have no damn power steering and anti-lock brakes. So you're gonna have to drive this thing." And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Huh?
Was it stick shift?
No, it was an automatic, but you got but old 60s cars, that's not power steering.
Right, it's power assist.
So you gotta really put some weight on it. You gotta really put some weight on steering and hitting the gas and braking. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying, dude, you saying what? I'm talking about you gotta at least know how to curl 30, 40, 50 pounds to turn. When you young, he be like, well, we men. They ain't turning with one hand. Your ass gonna need two. You gonna be sitting there like, God damn, this motherfucker. You know, it like when you see the movies of people turning big bus wheels, that's how you had to drive them cars. That's why people had big calves back in the day. That's why women didn't drive like that. It wasn't because women couldn't drive, it's because this so shit, yes, it was heavy. It was heavy. And we think about them old school men, you know, them Negroes was not bullshit.
No, they wasn't.
You ain't never you ever pushed the old lawnmowers that was just the metal ones that you just push and chop?
Yeah, just the metal one
with the blade in the middle.
Yeah. I see one still around in my backyard.
You want to make a child cry? Make them push that.
Make them.
You
That
want
shit
what?
heavy.
You think you're a man, boy? Go push it. Go cut that grass. That motherfucker
You
sitting
make
there.
the child mother cry too.
Exactly.
You go, why you got my baby out there?
Mama crying. Oh, look at
Why
it.
my baby out there in the house, son?
We don't think about the things that we used to think about.
Yes, sir.
Like y'all didn't like you see a lot of us are spoiled. And
Very spoiled.
this is the reality. A lot of black people either forgot how they grew up or you forgot how real it was. A very simple thing. If you was raised in the South, or it really ain't a Southern thing. If you was raised when it got hot, when they made you sit in an old 70s, 60s car in a leather seat, sit your ass on, sit down.
Lord
When your back start burning, you didn't see. A kid nowadays can't even sit in an old car with old leather seats.
No,
you can't do it. Because they'll fucking cry. They'll cry. Nobody, y'all don't know what it's like when they told you stop running in the house. Stop running in the house. And you hit your foot on that floor model TV. Oh, you learn real quick. I'm gonna stop running this goddamn house.
Or that old couch with the big old wooden feet.
Right. We forget about shit like that. We don't send our kids to the store no more. I gave you $5. You better bring me back my change.
Okay. And don't let them count it wrong. You better be going back.
And don't put no bubble gum in your pocket for 25 cents and think bullshit. You getting towed up.
Okay. From the flow up.
I saw that with Shannon Sharp. A lot of black people don't take into kids. When we was kids, it was guns in the house. They was loaded. You don't touch no loaded gun.
Okay. Period.
When these kids dying in households nowadays, we're like, nigga, it was a shotgun in the house, 2 rifles, 345s, a 38. Like you knew you could be in there playing with all your family members. The last thing you gonna go do is go touch one of them guns. So, we forget stuff, man. And this is what I mean by, even when I was talking about brothers breaking the cycle, we forget the cycle where we came from, and other people forget the cycle that we came from, because it's like, what? Like, y'all did that? Yeah, we did that. Like, a lot of y'all don't take into consideration that, and for some of y'all, this might be a hard. Men used to do shit to us that was harsh but necessary, but it wasn't even hard. Like, I was talking to my girlfriend about this. I said, the men in my family said, you think you're a man now? Come here. They get you Dr. Tish's mouthwash. And they be like, if you could squiggle around Dr. Tish's mouthwash for a minute, we'll see how much of a man you are. And you as a kid, like, that's just mouthwash. They had the old cigars. Boy, you think you're a man? You want to smoke, huh? Smoke this.
Yep.
Your ass in there coughing and throwing up crying.
Oh, yeah. You have to take a big old puff, too.
Yeah. L.A.R. I found my uncle gun one time, right? When I was
down to the lungs.
Remember them old TVs, like you said, the floor model TVs that had the record player on top of it? You can split it back. Well, I split it back one day, and there was like 6 guns in there. And I remember I took one out, and my uncle came in and caught me. You know what he did? I thought he was going to beat me. He didn't. He took me out back and made me shoot that 357. I'm like 9 or 10. It was so loud. And I ain't never go near none of them until I got older. But I was so scared. I was like, boom! He was like, do it again. I was like, no! I'm crying. He's like, don't do ever. And I didn't do it no more though.
That's people don't realize our experience is different, like, because people would think, oh man, you kids want to do this. The men in our lives was not playing. Even our coaches wasn't playing.
Nope. Oh hell no.
No, sir.
Like black coaches are not the coaches you want. Like, you getting off easy with all these white coaches.
Yes, you are.
These black coaches they be like, oh my God. Oh my God. Say, boy, come here. What? I need you. We finna run. Everybody get your ass on the line. And when they say get on the line, everybody, like, most black women don't even know this.
Like Coach Boone.
I'm gonna tell y'all why a lot of young black men get into fights. And why a lot of young black men get into sports. You get into fights because the kids that they'll get on your team, they spoil. They got you running 15, 20, 30, 100s, suicides because they got an attitude. So you know what happens when practice is over? You beat the dog shit out of them.
Yes. Yo, that's true, man. They want to call and tell their mom, the coach, hollered at them. Like, damn, man, you snitching and shit. What the hell, man? Yep, that's the truth. Dudes used to call me snitching and shit. Go tell their mom the coach got in the face. So what?
And this is, and a lot of people don't even know about this. This is where it became a separation between the streets and sports, because a lot of the guys who was in the streets, like few of them, people don't realize this. Few guys who was actually in the streets played sports too, because a lot of the guys couldn't take the physicality of certain things. They wasn't trying to be. They was trying to be fly. They was not trying to be physical. Certain dudes that was in both, they was monsters. They was freaking monsters.
My dad told my Muay Thai coach to kick my ass. Don't go easy. He said, don't go easy on my son. But I swear to God, my dad told him, whatever you do with the other ones, do my son, make my son do 3 extra. That's what he used to tell the Muay Thai coach.
Because, like, this is true. Like, I had my football coach. He's dead now. I used to wear black ankle socks. This is in the 90s. People wasn't wearing ankle socks, black ankle socks in the 90s. People wasn't wearing all these colored ankle socks or colored socks. People don't realize that you was wearing them white socks, or in the 80s they had them white socks with the stripe in it. People was not wearing different colors like that. That was, 90s shit with the Fab Five. I used to. He was like, oh, you want to wear black socks? Why you wearing black socks? And I would lie. I'm doing it for the political prisoners, So he said, okay, you want to wear black socks? I got something for your ass. Do 100 push-ups. And you want to wear black? Every day I saw him in gym class, I had to do 100 push-ups because of my socks. And if I cussed, I had to do 100 more. There were plenty of days when I had to do 500 push-ups before I even started gym class, while everybody else was working, just playing around. And people don't take into consideration that black, and that's why I'm talking about the guys fighting. The reason was because the other reason was you got tired. Those fights you would have on sports teams would spill out into the streets. That's what, like, when you kick somebody's ass and they didn't quit the team because you kicked their ass. Now when you see them out in the street, now you got beef.
Elliot, you missed something though. Throw this in there with it. Which everything you saying, what they did back in the 90s, the 2000s, the 80s, or the 90s per se, early 90s, and we took it. Whereas these boys would be crying and suck their teeth and run out. Explain to them why we took it. Like there still was male authoritative shit where when they told you to do something, you listened. You did what they told you to do, as opposed to now.
You suck your teeth. The line, you ain't gonna have them teeth. Suck your teeth again, see what happens.
And we did it. We didn't rebel. We listened to them.
No, that's not true. We rebelled the first time.
Yeah.
And when we got caught, see a lot of people don't realize a lot of brothers have the rebellious stuff was rebellious outside. You was a rebel outside.
Right.
You wasn't a rebel inside.
No, not at all.
You wanted to be a rebel at the school. You was a rebel until you got caught. See,
you don't tell my dad.
Yeah, see, people forget about that aspect of our society where, oh, you a badass. Listen. The same person, the same kid that'll cuss you out. Okay, I'm calling your mom. Like, I'm calling your mama is one thing. Because people don't realize this about black people in general. I'm calling your mama was the predecessor. I'm finna tell your dad. You didn't want nobody to call your mama because your mama was gonna tell your dad, and your dad was gonna break a 2x4 over your back.
Okay.
And if it ain't your dad, it's your uncle or it's your granddad.
Stepdad, somebody gonna fuck
whatever, man.
And the worst person wasn't your dad. It was normally somebody like your granddad and your uncle.
Yeah, they come over later after everything is over. You thought you was through the woods. Your uncle come over to check his mail and be like, where George at? Oh, he upstairs. Upstairs for what? He got suspended from school. He like, damn, you just my uncle. You ain't got nothing to do with this.
See, dad will bust your ass. Uncles and granddads, come here. Let me talk to you real quick. This is what I need you to do. This is what I need you to do, son. You see that you see that Chevy right there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, sir. I need you. I just got out of the Chevy. Go sit your ass on. Go lean on the car for a while. Car is like 1,500 degrees because be driving it all fucking day. Now you over there baking like some bacon, and he gonna sit there. Let me talk to you for a second. Boy, don't you move. You move, I'm gonna knock your ass out. Now he talking to you while you heating up like fucking rotisserie, and he wants you to say something. What's up, Green Machine? He wants you to say something, and then he'll do stupid shit to you. Like, we got to go do something. I want you gonna come work with me, son. So now you out there picking up big water jugs, bales of hay, you picking up rocks. Now he got you working, and he ain't got you doing normal work. He got you doing grown ass field hand work, and you wishing that where's my daddy at so he could just beat me? Cause you fucking trying to kill me.
Well, L.A.R, what happened to that? How come is where did the shift come? Because now you can't do that to boys no more.
You know, personally, I look at it like parenting got soft. Don't do that to my baby. Don't do that to that's my child. See, back in the day, don't do that to my baby. And I hate to say this about black mothers back in the day were a whole lot smarter than black mothers in current time.
Yeah, I agree.
Because black mothers back in the day will say, don't do that to my baby, and then your baby will do something, be like, you know what? He all yours.
Okay.
I tried to save him. I tried to help him. He hard-headed. He all yours.
You better be quiet. Daddy coming. And you still don't listen. Well, that's on you.
See, now it's you fighting for your baby to the end of the world. Yes, it's personal, thug. Like you fighting to the end of the ends for your child. People didn't do that. People did not do that. I know my best friends, some of them alive, some of them dead. You know what the worst punishment? I had one of my homeboys, he's dead. You know what his worst punishment was? What? My daddy hit was laying down concrete foundations, laying down concrete. Like, oh, you grown? Come here, bring your ass out here. He to this day, he's like, nigga, I will never touch concrete again. Another one putting up not the foundation, but the size of the house. When you put them together, when you do the wood, and then you got to hold them up.
Framework.
The framework. Thank you. They had him holding up the framework. He said, "Man, my motherfucking body locked up. My daddy laughing at me and shit. I ain't never working on no house." This is how we were treated.
Yes.
And if you really want to get hurt, and some of y'all don't realize this, they'll give you a little bitty paintbrush and tell you to paint.
Uh-huh.
That was the most disgusting thing because you're not supposed to fuck it up. So now you sitting in there hours and hours, your forearm sore, you're like, what? How the hell did this happen? Men used to do, and mothers used to be down for, even if your daddy wasn't in the house. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna talk to your daddy about you. That was the worst thing ever.
No, please don't know.
I want him to know. Oh man.
And I remember getting hit so hard by my dad I couldn't speak.
That's the jab to the gut. That's come here. Boom. Ooh.
He hit me with the Ric Flair chop in the back. I'm like, and people think, you guys were abused. No, because this didn't happen all the time.
Yeah, right.
A lot of us don't. We've saved these children from an ass whipping. They getting their ass kicked in life because we ain't whipped their ass when they were young.
But L.A.R, most dads, I think most dads wasn't beaters. They really didn't have to. My mom fucked you up or grandma fucked you up bad. My dad really didn't. I can remember the beatings I got. My dad was more verbally abusive, and I was afraid of him, so I just did what he said. Period.
Right.
So, my aunt, my dad's sister, my aunt used to fuck me up quick. Bang, bang, bang. Oh damn! Wait, you didn't even give me warning. You know what I mean? My dad really had chastised me for the most part. And when he did, but I'm gonna tell you, when he did fuck me up, was. I didn't want to get fucked up by him because by the time he fucked me up, I'd have pissed him off.
Watch this. I'm about to say something, and all. You know why a lot of brothers swole, y'all? Let me tell you why a lot of brothers swole. Because we remembered getting fucked up by the men, and I think ain't gonna never happen. I'm about to This is why Negroes are doing push-ups and sit-ups and country strong, because one day they got fly with a grown man. That grown man jacked them up real quick, one-handed. And it was like, oh, you know what? I thought I was a man. This man then picked me up by my neck like a goddamn chicken.
Yeah, I did that L.A.R. I was in the house one. I think this was '91. I was out in the street. You know what I mean? Had a little Volvo, doing my thing, running wild, not listening to my aunt. And at that age, I was bigger now. I'm a teenager. I'm doing my thing, and I felt like I ain't had to listen to it no more. But what I didn't know was my uncle was in the basement, L.A.R. fixing the pipe in the basement. I'm upstairs in the kitchen, mouthing off to her. I don't care. I ain't gotta stay here anyway. I'm tired of this shit. Man, I had my back turned. So I'm going off on her. She's saying what she's saying, and I'm just being defiant because I've been up under her rule for so long, and now I got my chest out. I'm Big Bad George. Man, as soon as I turned around, man, my uncle smacked blood out my mouth. I said, "You ever talk to my?" He smacked me, bow, and hit me with a body shot, dropped me to one knee. I couldn't talk. Blood coming out my mouth. He said, "You want to be a man?" That's what he said. He said, "This would it feel like." This is what man shit for. He said, them little ass whoopings I used to give you. He said, you a big boy now? You ain't got to stay here? You want to be out in the world? Well, this is a world punch. Bang! Man, I was fucked up. To this day, I ain't never talked to my aunt like that.
I got punched in the stomach with my mama's boyfriend. Now, here's the irony. I wasn't with my mother at the time. My older cousin was in the league. So I'm hanging out with my mother's boyfriend and all NFL players. I get hit so hard, I didn't even see it coming. I dropped to a knee. And the only thing I was proud. Look, you ain't knocked me out though. I ain't crying though. I can't stand up. So I'm just proud that I ain't really folded over all the way. I'm Kaepernick. I'm on that knee like Cap, like. And at that point, and all the guys around laughing like, and I wound up talking to my older cousin. And he's like, "We grown. You ain't grown yet." And that what that means is we got man strength. Just because you done picked up a few weights, that's what these Negroes warm up with. Grown men warm up with your max. Be careful. Right. So I'm out. So a lot of us don't. When these old men don't want nothing. I done got ragdolled by old men. That old man don't. Wait. You supposed to be old. You supposed to be 35, 40. You supposed to be almost a senior citizen. How the hell you just do that? We forget those days. You know what I'm saying? Because I did it to my son. Come on, old man. I said, I'm an old man, huh?
Oh, you're probably old man.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna jump off of what you just said. So for me, with all that being said, I'm probably a little old school. That's why I don't whine and really bitch and moan and complain about women too much, because I just level myself up. I don't really like I tell people all the time. My content, I got a lot of women supporters, but my content ain't for women. My content is for men. Like I speak in the manner what I speak because of the way my dad taught me. Like, listen, just you level up and do right. Like, say, oh, George, you a simp. No, I'm not, man. I'm married 13 years. I run my house. Like, no, like I was selective when I selected a woman because I came to the street from getting money. I knew the difference between a floozy, a hoe, and a good girl. And when it was time for me to choose, I chose, and we walked together. But I learned that from my dad and from my prison stepfather that taught me manhood. So I just think that, like, everything that we talked about, getting fucked up by the old heads, going through different things, getting punished by having men in your life to punish you when you need it, that teaches you character and certain things. So for me, I don't really spend time just complaining about women because I don't care what women do. Like, a lot of times, man, my wife would be talking to me for an hour, and I might only hear 20 minutes of what she said. The most important parts. I don't get into all of that, man. I listen to what I need to hear, Bishop Tim, not the whole hour.
We don't. A lot of us don't know that. Some of us we upset at women because we were taught to be men from women.
Okay.
And it don't add up now. Because I know the men in my family, the women talk and be like, all right, we're gonna do that. And hold up, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna seriously. A lot of us had to either remember or get back to the state where you don't listen to everything a woman tells you because she's not serious about everything she's telling you.
No, nope.
She's
She's
venting.
emotional.
Right. She's venting. So the parts that you need to know is gonna come out, but it ain't gonna come out immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she changed from 1 second to the next. So
Right.
you learn to get the parts out of it. You be with a woman long enough. Like I said, my woman could talk to me. My wife could talk to me for an hour. I'll listen to get the important parts. She's like, you hear about yeah, babe, yeah, I got you, babe. And then I go do whatever she asks me to do, and then that's just it. I don't get it. Let the women do what women do, man. You do what you do.
Because women don't, like, contrary to popular belief, one of the issues is, and I hate to say it, but women act like they want to be men now, but they can't handle it. So guys are upset because you're not a man. Stop trying to be a man. You can't handle it. I don't want to get, because women are hearing this guys actually treat women like we were treated as boys. Oh, you a man now? Okay, fine. Shut up.
Okay.
Shut up. You a man now, remember? Shut up.
Okay.
I can't believe they did that to me. Well, life is unfair. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You know what it is though, L.A.R. I don't even compare myself. Like I tell brothers, don't compare yourself to a woman. You're a man for a reason. Let her say what she wants. So what? That's what she's saying over there by herself.
Right.
Period. Don't ever compare yourself to a woman. Just listen, she's saying it over there. Have some standards. Just because she got a big butt and some nice breasts and she look good don't mean you got to screw her. Her mouth make her ugly. Leave her over there. But it's hard to get brothers to do that.
But a lot of us haven't been getting, haven't been, I think the lack of sex is a problem.
Yeah, that's
Because a lot of times, because to be perfectly honest, you were right when you said this. A lot of the part of manhood is not the amount of women you can get; it's the amount of women you can turn down.
Leave her alone.
Like you don't need to mess with her.
Don't. She crazy. She look good, but she crazy.
But some of us need that. I need to get with her. I need that. No, you don't.
No, you don't. Let her go, man. Let her listen. She won't shut up. Let her won't shut up across the street while you walking down the street. That's all. Because while you walking down the street, you're gonna meet a girl that's suitable for you. But you can't meet a girl suitable for you if you keep chasing this. I mean, so that's just the way I see it. I'm gonna jump off. I gotta eat.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off in a second too. Go Chaos and Seneca, say what y'all got, because I still gotta work out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna jump off.
My stomach's still fucking.
Yeah. Black men, just level up, man. Listen, it's a lot of good black women out here, man. Just you got to walk the journey together, man. Get your stuff together, man. Have your standards on what you want in a woman, and that woman to show up, man. That white woman to show up in your life. Because once you got a standards, man, you got a force field around you. Because when you walk in with your chest up with a high standard for yourself, and me, I'm so black. I with black women. So when I level up as a black man with a standard for myself, so when the ratchet Riri comes, she already knows she can't penetrate through my defense. I'm not having it. And I brought the woman to me that's supposed to be there. And now I'm teaching that to my son. So I don't sit around and complain about women because women gonna be women. That's just what they do. I don't give a shit. I just need you to do what I need you to do. So that's
But interesting from what I hear earlier from you, George, is this, that the reason why even back then when you did the criminal life back in the late 90s, that you were structured. That's why you were a little bit more successful than the average dude back then that dream to do it. So you have no idea. You gotta be very disciplined. And if you have a strong father, it made more of how you go run those streets properly.
Yeah, maybe amongst men.
And think about it. I don't want people to glamorize like the what those TV shows like The Wire and all that stuff. And they never pay attention. A lot of those boys that took over after some of the old heads started to drop, no structure, just pure chaos. Because when you don't have that structure, now the enemy already knows that I already gave you the weapon. Either you're gonna destroy yourself or not. And that's how I've gotten to understand and learn from a lot of these street low-level movies, though. That if you're not structured and you're doing something, you better do it proper, or you're gonna get all the time. You're there, L.A.R.
Yeah. No, I got you. Like even when it comes to the why, everybody when it was all over, realized they should have been stronger, and not everybody else.
Okay.
They killed the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? You got a cynical. Saying,
Hey, LA, I was watching a video, but I was kind of in a rush, so I couldn't talk at first. I was trying to say it's funny how right and true how all that shit you been, man, damn it, stupid notifications are still on. How right a lot of the stuff you saying is, because I remember I can look back, like I'm 26 now. I can look back on some of the stuff I saw as a kid, and I remember how I used to get irritated at some of the stuff with my biological dad, and then like I see history sometimes repeating itself, like with me and my brother and my second father. Like what I'm waiting like one of the biggest and the funniest things I'm waiting for right now is for my younger brother to have a kid, so he can repeat what our father did to him. Because it was, you know how when you're young you always want to try to fight with your dad, right?
mm-hmm.
So it was a time where he was like, come on, Dad, I can take you. He was covered up in pillows and couch cushions and everything. He was like, man, go sit down. He's like, no, Dad, come on, I can take you. I'm ready for you this time. Come on, let's go. So it was such a weak punch, you can't even really call it a punch. It was like he was stretching and he sent my brother flying into a wall. And then when we got to my grandpa's house, he was laughing. He's like, Dad, you know, he did the pillow thing. And my grandpa started laughing about that. I see how a lot of the folks in my age group are soft as hell, and some of them are starting to toughen up and just everything else. Like, y'all spot on with this one.
People don't realize that about, like, I hate I hate that we made that society has become so soft to the point that it takes you longer to become a man. And truth be told, it takes women longer to become women too. Because when you, and what I mean by the cycle thing, when you self-improve and become a stand-up man, you ain't got to be a great man, just a stand-up solid guy. It's gonna separate you from all the people you don't need to be around on its own. You ain't even gonna want to dabble in people that's playing games. They can't even last around. And that's what part of that competition and structure was about. They used to tell us the cream of the crop always rise to the top. Eagles fly alone. Eagles don't fly with chickens. It was no dabbling with in between both. It was either you're gonna be up here or you're gonna be down there. We're not gonna play this game. So a lot of us are trying to dabble in both, and it's unnecessary.
Dabbling in both will get you caught up.
Right. You know what? Shoot, let me get out of here because I need to dabble in some Pepto-Bismol.
Okay.
All right, you have a nice day.
Y'all too.
All right. Thanks again, L.A.R.
You got it, Chaos. Peace.
Peace,
Peace,
everybody.
everybody.